Hello, MechWarriors, and welcome to the Mechbay, where we fix your mech and fix your game. What's going on, MechWarriors? I'm your host, Josh, and today I've got with me my co-hosts, Dustin and Denham, with me today.
I think my cooling vest is leaking again.
Oh no. Is it the corrosive coolant or just the regular coolant?
No. I didn't get the... Whoa, you were warning me about it. What was that chemical?
I don't know. I'd have to look back at like 3 commercials ago.
It was a really long name. I love that commercial. You're like, is that the... I don't remember what it was, but anyways.
You're killing
See,
me.
I can't remember either.
What's going on, Dustin? Denham, how are you guys?
I'm
Good.
5x5, ready to go.
Awesome.
I don't know what Dustin's problem is.
It's
Just
leaking
covered in
coolant.
Leaking coolant, baby.
What does it taste like? Is it sweet?
Oh, so sweeter than anything you'd imagine. I'm sure it's all the ether.
You're not cooking steaks within the battlefield, are you? It's not your marinade.
Oh.
Is that bad for you?
If you can't feel your legs, then you know you've had too much.
Oh, that's what that was.
But if you're just tuning in, we are the Mechbay Podcast, your number one bi-weekly Battletech tabletop-focused podcast. And today, MechWarriors, we are going to be talking about preparing to roll out with those battle mechs and picking which ammunition to take to the battlefield for all of our ballistic and missile weapon lovers. But first, as always, let's go get that battle mech coolant flowing with some hobby news, hobby progress, and some fan mail. I think it's actually been a relatively slow week after the last little bit. I think the big thing is we saw a preview of the new Battletech source book, and that is Empire Alone. What do you guys think of that one? That art, I should say.
Yeah, I like the art. I see what looks to me to be some House Merrick stuff on there. So I'm pretty hyped for it. House Merrick is definitely going to be my main Ill-Clan faction. So I'm going to be picking that up. I think I'm going to skip the physical copy of Tamar Rising, but I'll be getting the Dead Tree version of Empire because I think it's going to have my House Merrick stuff in there for the Ill-Clan era. It's a nice Ostwar too.
Yeah, no, I was a little surprised seeing Ostwar, and it looks to me like that's a stalker in the background, which would pretty place it well into the Merrick area, I should say. You like that art, Denham? Or
Well, I love the art, and unlike Dustin, I don't care if it's my faction or not. I'm getting the Dead Tree version. It's going to go on the shelf with all the others.
I got to read Battletech fluff books for book clubs, so I can only handle so much rule books and source books.
oof.
For now.
I GM so much that I don't want to have to be without a book if I need
Yeah,
one. I wanna
have
be
the
able to
library
spread it open.
complete.
Yep, exactly. I want it at my fingertips.
I don't know if my work would appreciate me like bringing the books in to read, like, just stacked next to my actual workbooks. I'm excited. I can't wait to flip that one open because, that area is a little, I don't want to say underloved right now. And like, there's a lot of mysteries going on about what's happening near there.
Underloved. My Free Worlds League boys, they get supplements. They have their house handbook or whatever from, I don't know, maybe 89 or something.
I was like 30 years.
But yeah, I've always loved House Merrick.
That's good.
But yeah, not much news.
No, sometimes no news is good news. It means things are either being planned. I know they had the Catalyst demo team agent meeting, so they don't normally have those and don't talk about anything, right, Denham?
Correct. I'm
Not at liberty.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I heard anything. However, start saving your money.
There you go. You heard it here first. Save your money.
There are things that they have said on their AMAs, like there's going to be another Kickstarter. They don't know exactly when, but the last one was so successful that they're definitely going to do it. It's just, what are they going to be offering?
Y'all remember when we got that free capital, interest free? We should do that again.
Yeah.
You can't blame them, right?
They have learned so much from this last one, and everything should go much smoother.
The actuators are greased.
Yep.
Gyro is calibrated.
Wave 1 was a test run. Wave 2 was a, oh god, it's on fire run. Wave 3, I think they found the fire extinguisher.
Well, we'll find out. I'm excited.
All right.
But that's no like official confirmation. We have no dates. We have no products. So
no. Well,
this is more of a, they definitely want to do a Wave 3.
In the AMA, they said they want to do a Wave 3 and they want to do it this year sometime.
Year just started, so we got another 11 months. Let's see what happens.
Exactly. It could be December. I wonder. No confirmation. No confirmation, but maybe Merrick will get a combat manual like Karita and Mercenaries.
Oh, man. I would love for them to finish out that series. I know they
I know nothing
there for a little bit, but
I know nothing about the combat manual series,
but it would be cool.
Yeah, it would.
I would buy the and then we could do our spicy, flavorful Alpha Strike games with all the extra rules on top, and see if we hate it.
That's all I got to say.
All right, and let's move on to some hobby mail. So this week's mail is essentially a continuation of our conversation last week of how to organize your Battle Mech collection and, organize her list and everything. And listener Chris Grant writes, "Hey guys, I was listening to this week's podcast and heard the part about inventory solutions. I've been looking for a while and haven't found a perfect solution, but did settle on Trello. It's a project management tool that allows me to create boards and templates for the different stuff I want to track. Mechs, box sets, clothing, etc. It lets me attach pictures as well as associate entries with other entries if you want to separate box set items but want to associate the individual items with the box set so you can kind of see everything in the box set. It's searchable, and I was able to put all my mechs in and can easily filter them to show a specific type of mech, like all my archers. It can be accessed via the web and has a mobile app. They have a free version that so far has given me all the functionality I need, and you can pay for additional functionality if you want. Anyways, I figured I'd throw it out there in case it helps someone meet their collection tracking needs. Thanks, Chris." Yeah, no, I've seen Trello used for a lot of like more software development management, like tracking changes and planning like long-term things, but using it to manage an inventory is probably not a bad idea. What do you guys think?
Well, right now, right behind me, I have a Tupperware bin that has almost 200 mechs, got like 188 mechs in it. That's my organization right now.
Trello would probably be better.
Trello sounds, I will totally check that out.
Wow.
Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, Dustin, you actually looked at something and posted it on the Discord, and I think I've like floated by it and I've spent like a couple minutes onto it. But why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, what was it called? Pileofshame.com or something like, or Pile of Opportunity, I think it was. Pileofpotential.com. Yeah, it's great. You can put in. It's kind of open-ended with the way you want to organize, mess around with it a little bit, and you'll kind of see what I'm talking about. There's like projects and then like collections or something. But anyways, you put your models in there, and there's little check marks for like, hey, I assembled the model, and then you can check that box. And then I, base coated it, and you can check that box. And then I painted it, and you can check that box. And then I based it, and you can check that box, and it's complete. And then it's got a handy little percentage tracker that only gives you dopamine for completely finishing the model, which that is the only thing I don't like about it. I wish I got partial points for partially completing models. But anyways, yeah, I
what do you think this is? Grade school? Come on.
I want a star.
Participation means
I want
nothing.
Stickers for every step I complete. But anyways, yeah, that one's pretty cool. So yeah, check it out if you want to. I just said it would pileofpotential.com.
I'm with you, Dustin. I would like acknowledgement for every step I complete, just to.
I need all the help I can get,
just to keep me going.
You just need that dopamine button, like complete. Oh yeah,
yeah. Thanks, brain.
Like I said, thanks, Chris. We will definitely keep Trello in mind. I think that's great for like someone that's planning like a larger, like I want to say more direct project, like start to end goals.
Yeah, like this is my battalion.
Yeah. But that still would be great. So whatever anyone needs, there's probably a solution out there for it, and they just need to find it.
There's an app for that.
All right. I skipped it, but what have we gotten done for hobby progress? Let's start with you, Denham.
Okay, well, it's been the last couple weeks have been pretty bad due to weather. It's snowed for a little bit. It was very icy. My
What's
girlfriend,
that ice for the last 3 weekends here?
yeah,
It actually has been kind of, yeah.
yeah.
Wild times for North Carolina.
So my girlfriend and I were trying to decide. We wanted to do a date type thing, and I got some books in the mail from the Catalyst store. And right now, if you order things, they give you free salvage boxes.
Ooh.
So she's like, "Why don't we just open up 2 random salvage boxes and I'll paint a mech with you?" Okay, that sounds cool.
You're never going to say no to that.
I know.
I get
So
free painted mechs. That's free real estate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, she painted hers because I do Smoke Jaguar, but she painted hers Clan Fire Mandrill colors.
Which 2 mechs did you guys get?
She opened up the Viper or Dragonfly, and I got the Ice Ferret. So they're both 40, 45 tonners, go 8, 12.
I was about to say, that's pretty comparable. Medium on medium.
Yep. So, but instead of me painting in my office where I've got like everything set up the way I like it with all the lights and everything, I brought it all out and we did it in front of the TV so she could watch something in the background. I don't mind listening to things while I paint, but I can't have like a TV on where I'm watching something. It distracts me. So as awesome as it was not my favorite thing.
Oh, don't let her hear this. How could you? You lie, sir. You tell the world that it was the best thing ever.
Okay, look. I'm going to be honest with you.
No, I don't want honesty.
No, you do. The real reason is that she painted the mech better than me.
Oh
no. Hers looks really good. So I will
put you to shame.
Pictures. I will put pictures later, but hers looks really nifty.
Awesome. Does she have a lot of experience miniature painting?
No. That's
even worse.
It's that whole somebody who never really does it. Just like, oh, did I do okay? I'm like, it's okay. No, it's really, really good. So annoying. So annoying. No, it was great fun. Like that's not going to be a regular date, but the fact that she would recommend that or suggest that makes me happy.
No, that sounds awesome. I mean,
and mechs that I don't have to paint. So
that's the best part. The best part. Anything else, or is that pretty much it for you for the last couple weeks?
That's it for painting. Like I've been trying out my that wet palette, but I've had a couple games at the store, but nothing above and beyond.
That's fine. What about you, Dustin? What have you gotten done lately?
I started up. I'm part way through a Calliope. What else did I paint? I think I talked about my lance I painted on the last podcast. Oh yeah, I also painted up a trebuchet. So filling out my Ill Clan Merrick house Merrick stuff. Lots of new plastic, except for the Calliope. It's a metal one, but yeah, a little bit of hobby progress.
Look at you.
I think I assembled some Warhammer stuff, but we don't need to talk about that. So
no, it's hobby progress. It's the wrong hobby.
It's true.
Hobby progress.
But it was progress. So yeah, I have been steady painting.
Good for you.
Little bit by little bit right now. How about you? What did you get done?
Oh man, I got a lot done actually. Like more than I was mentally prepared for, I guess I should say. I signed up. Well, my Warhammer friends peer pressured me into doing a tournament for them, and I was like, fine, I'll do it.
Fine.
Yeah, no, I was like, I'd rather play BattleTech that day, but whatever. And I had to get a bunch of stuff painted, so I was like, okay, cool, we're doing that night before the tournament painting.
Oh yeah,
which I'm so well known for. I know, that's the worst part. Everyone knows I do it. But I got a lot of Gene Stealer Cult guys painted. I got a couple vehicles. I got 4 characters painted, some bikes. It was a lot more. And I try to go with the simple, okay, what can I block off and paint skin? What can I, hit with an airbrush real quick to put some green template? So I actually got my stencils out and, kind of cut them up and put some stripes on. So some flat spaces. And that really okay, it went from 5% done to 50% done almost instantly.
Nice.
It threw a nice place to draw your eye, so it didn't really look like as unfinished as it probably was. And then it snowed, and then the tournament got canceled. So you know what? It was better for. It was aiming for snow day. Like I don't want to say I didn't want to go, but I painted and was like, yeah, this is good enough for me. Come on, snow.
Come on.
But yeah, that was what I did for non-Battletech. For actual Battletech, I did a whole bunch of stripping models, which is the first time I've stripped new Wave 1 and Wave 2 plastic for a friend.
What did you use?
So I used, and this is where I like say my recommendation, I used was it Purple Power degreaser. And I didn't get the big bucket. I just got like the spray thing and got them on into like a nice vertical volume rather than horizontal. So I was using not too much volume. And I left them for 2 days in like semi-freezing temperatures and outside. And
it worked?
It worked. Like I emptied it out and the paint just like poured off. I was like, wow.
Awesome.
Now, was it the paint and the primer came off? Or just...
Yes, paint and primer. I was like, this is gray plastic underneath.
I used isopropyl and the paint came right off, but the primer, it didn't take the primer off nearly as well.
Yeah, it's not that I don't trust isopropyl. I just also know from a chemistry perspective that it's weaker than you think it is.
Oh.
So, yeah, like I said, I used the Purple Power before, and depending on how thick they go on the primer, it can work better or not. But this worked flawlessly, so I've got almost fresh gray plastic to work with.
That's
so
awesome.
I'm excited to get those primed. Hopefully that'll happen by the time this comes out and get some paint on, because I've got some fun things planned for these bad boys. That's painting models, that's stripping models, and I am working to get some artwork commissioned for, this whole podcast thing, so we can get some better updated things. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
T-shirts.
Buttons and
full chest size tattoos.
I mean, actually, stickers are cool. I like stickers. So.
It's like, in Starship Troopers, when they all get aboard the ship and they're like...
That's from above.
Yeah, and they get just tattooed right on them. They're pouring beer on it. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. Can't stop me.
I'll make stickers for Dustin, but we'll video you getting a tattoo.
Commitment.
Yeah, because, I have such great commitment. All right, but no, that's pretty much all for my hobby progress. So that is a lot. And I don't think, you got some games in, Denham. Do you have any memorable moments from those? How did those go?
It went well. Like, a lot of it was the missions stuff that I do at the hobby store. That's the persistent, the players are a mercenary unit and I'm the GM. So the things that they do and earn from one mission go on to another, and you can increase your pilot skills in your mech. Stuff like that. Always very, very popular. I'm doing a couple changes to how I run it. So I was testing those out, and so far it seems really, really good.
No, that sounds awesome. And you didn't get anything in, Dustin? No Battletech? No wargaming at all? That's not true. I know you guys.
No, I did.
You're just ashamed to say it.
You were there. It's just that it turned into a Warhammer day, but I need Battletech in my life. Let me tell you what, I especially want to get now that, I have some of the rec guide stuff that I want to run for my probably Free Worlds League lists. I want to get some of those new variants on the table, and I want to play an Ill Clan era game.
Me too, man. Me too.
And life is just...
Well, you've been out for a while, so.
Oh, well, there was the whole getting COVID thing, so there was that. But yeah, soon, very shortly. I think my brother will be. No, I don't think my brother will be in town next weekend. Maybe I'll get a game in with him.
Whoa,
some new stuff.
New stuff, meaning Stone Rhino, more Stone Rhino.
It's been a long time since he played.
And he's going to go back to old reliable.
Old reliable. Wait, there's a Stone Rhino with 14 medium pulse lasers? I don't think it worked out for him, actually, because the Stone Rhino, surprise, is slow. Even those clan pulse lasers don't reach out that far. But, yeah.
Yeah, I just got Warhammer in too, but we don't need to hear me about that.
Yeah, no, I feel so much shame. Shame.
All right, so that's pretty much it for news, hobby, and progress, and fan mail. I mean,
we're locked and loaded.
Yeah, we're getting ready for the new year. 2022 is going to be a good year.
It will.
Yeah, no, I'm getting a whole lot of stuff lined up for the podcast. So if you're listening, thinking 2021 was good but not great,
prepare for greatness.
All right, so let's take a quick break, see what's coming in on the HBGs, and when we get back, we're going to talk about all the ammunition you can load.
All you could want and more. More.
Welcome to a new episode of Mechbay Repo.
Alrighty, I'm Mr. Kazrok here with the Comosha doing a routine Mechbay inspection. Now, so far, it looks like all your paperwork is in order, but I'm going to need to see your sweet Blake Almighty. Is that an exposed coolant leak in the middle of the Mechbay?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's easier to just hit the drain plug when we're coming in, you know?
Oh, no. At the minimum, you need 4-foot railing surrounding it, but... Sweet Tara's titties. Is that man firing that medium laser in the bay itself?
He's doing a low-power calibration and checking the alignment against the barn door of a wall over there.
Oh, Blake, preserve me. I'm 3 days away from retirement.
Hey, boss, I finished stacking those Inferno SRMs just like you asked. I put them next to the incendiary AC bins under the reactor exhaust. You know, keep them warm for when we need them.
So, yeah, I'm just gonna slide this pile of coolant-soaked C-bills over to you and rethink my life choices. Sound good?
Oh, get me the ROM. The heavy ROM. And a little store news from Fortress Miniatures and Games. We've got Death Ray Designs that has some new 6mm terrain, the Power Grid, and Traffic Control set. These are perfect for throwing on bases or scattering around on a playing board for a little bit more flavor. They also have new mechs, VTOLs, and infantry from Stratos Minis for all your combined arms needs. But while you were waiting for your paint to dry, Ares Games and Miniatures has a full restock of all of the Battletech Legends novels, the new Grey Death Legion books, Shrapnel magazines, and of course, more of those fresh plastic lance packs right off the dropship. All right, and we are back. So I'd like everyone to know that contrary to Adam Steiner, information is not ammunition. Ammunition is ammunition!
I tried shooting information at the Clanners the other day, Adam, and it didn't do anything to them.
It didn't work, my friend. All right, so you like the tech, but now it's time to lock and load. But the problem is that there's so many options at the ammo buffet, and we're here to help guide you on this culinary journey of death and destruction.
How exactly do you want to defeat your foes?
We're going to give you a bunch of information about all of this ammunition.
No, we're giving them ammunition about information. All right. So like I said, we talked about last episode about we're moving into the Civil War. And when I say Civil War, quote unquote, I mean late clan invasion to Civil War, because there's so many technological advances that from a text perspective, I just throw them all in because you don't see a lot of them hitting the battlefield to the actual Civil War.
So you're telling me that ammunition information is ammunition?
I swear, don't anyone at me on this one. A couple things that have changed on the battlefield in itself are we've just got a whole bunch of battle armor running around. It feels like every faction has their own flavor of battle armor. And now they're just jumping on mechs, shooting people in the face, swarming them, leg attacks, everything. So
critting out actuators.
Oh, God. So, yeah. Battle armor everywhere. So tactics have kind of changed. I'd like to think that every lance now has either a dedicated battle armor delivery system or a dedicated battle armor killing system.
One of each. Yeah,
but
it's definitely a consideration in your Civil War era games. Like if you listen to the battle armor episode, like now you've got so many options and it's time to bring them.
Another thing is now we have this little fun technological advance called C3, which means, yo dog, I heard you like short range, so I gave short range to your whole lance.
Now you're hitting everything at short range.
Short range for you, at short range for you. Everybody gets short range.
We are going to do an entire episode on the tactics and depth of C3, but now you just have an entire smorgasbord of electronic warfare going around.
Hey, does that mean that my ECM is actually useful for something?
Not just your ECM, but your ECCM and your ECCCM and even your ECCCCM.
And I don't know if Angels and Guardians are around yet, but there's those too for another time, right?
Yeah. And then, of course, we've got all of our Gauss's because everything has a Gauss rifle now. So you got your light Gauss, your heavy Gauss, your normal Gauss, your David Gauss.
Sorry. My ER Gauss pulse laser.
God, the day that happens, I won't be surprised. But, so you got all this, and you've got all the old tech that's just kind of seems left behind now.
It's languishing.
It's just sitting there on your, King Crabs and all your mechs that were in the prime 5 years ago, and they just don't seem as good anymore.
Is no longer so relevant on the battlefield.
It is just as relevant as it was before, Dustin.
So this is when specialty ammunitions let you just get crazy with that customization all over again. Show of hands on the audio format. Who has used a specialty ammo before on the table?
Does Inferno count?
Inferno does actually count. Yeah, that's right. Everyone has used a special ammunition if you used Inferno. So if you are allowing Infernos, it's the same section of the Total Warfare book.
Uh-huh. I've used precision ammunition in my autocannons. I have also used semi-guided LRMs, which we will cover. Those are the ones that I've put on the table multiple times. I think I've tried a couple others out here and there.
We've all used LBX autocannons, and that counts too then.
Yeah.
You got your cluster munitions, right? That's special.
Exactly. What I'm trying to say is special ammunitions are not this weird, all right, you need 4 books down and then, pray to your game master and,
A lot of them are in the Battle Mech manual.
Yeah. They are fair game. But
they're bring them. They're there for a reason. Yeah. This is not esoteric, like you were saying, strategic operations and all the extra heavy books from Battletech. No, these are not all of these that we're going to cover, but a lot of them are right in the Battle Mech manual. So
yeah, for those following along, it's page 106 in the Battle Mech manual.
What specialty ammos do you not leave home without? Because, there is a lot of them. So I think the big ones, of course, are, our 2 ammunition-using weapons, which are the ballistics, which includes autocannons and light autocannons and technically LBX autocannons. Technically. And the other side of the coin, which is the missile weapons, and that's pretty much your SRM, LRM, your MMLs, which we'll get to, in a later era, and the Clans version, which is the ATM, Advanced Tactical Missile System. Yeah, everyone's essentially got an option to use special ammunition.
I can't praise enough how much it spices up those regular generic autocannons. If you felt like your autocannon chassis were kind of feeling behind and you're playing those late Civil War games, do you remember the special ammunitions? Makes them relevant even more than they already were.
And it's nice that light autocannons can also use the special ammunition.
Yeah, because, what is a light autocannon but a redesign of the autocannon just using a little bit better metal?
Yep, I think it's slightly less range.
Oh, it's a lot. I don't know. I don't like light autocannons, so I don't remember all their range brackets, but I do know that they have shorter range brackets.
I've only used a light autocannon 5, and I think it just goes from an 18 down to a 15 for its max range. So basically it turns into the range of a large laser.
5, 10, 15, right?
5 damage, but it's significantly lighter and takes up less crits, and you can still use all your alternate ammos for it.
The big thing about specialty ammos is you have to swap out the entire ton of ammo that your mech comes with. You take what you get, but you have to swap the entire bin.
Yeah.
So there's no 50-50, all right, the first round gets to be this, and the rest gets to be my normal. No, you have to swap the whole bin. Because
I have no problems with that at all. That's
it keeps it simple.
Yeah, you can't split. Oh, I want a half ton and a half ton. It's nope. That's how the bin is designed on the record sheet. Keep it that way.
Mm-hmm.
Now, could you have two if the game allows? I know some games allows half tons of any type of ammunition, not just machine gun ammo. So as long as it's 2 separate bins, you could do a half ton of one and a half ton of other.
Oh.
But it's still 2 slots.
2
but
crits.
for some of the things, like why there would be no point, because like an AC
Total
20
Warfare specifies a full ton, which scares me.
I was thinking of Tactical Operations' thing about half tons, but that's fine. Like
That's TAC Ops, though.
Yeah.
once again, I'm still fine because I think for a lot of the specialty ammos for an AC-20, you only get 2 rounds per ton anyway.
Yeah, a lot of them round 50% round down. So,
Yep. So if it's
but not all of them, and we'll cover that.
yeah, it's true.
Total Warfare specifies full ton, and when firing using a specialty ammunition, you have to specify which one you are using for each shot if you have multiple types. So call out firing AC-10 with X ammo. It's just common courtesy to let your opponent know what's going downrange. And the big part is that you can only get one quote-unquote special effect with your ammunition. So you can't combine special ammunitions with special abilities like Artemis or Streak or other type bonuses. Now, this doesn't mean targeting computers are immune. That's a not ammunition-dependent ability. All right, so what do you guys think of just the concept of, like, are these rules too restrictive? Are they free enough that you can do what you want?
Yeah, they seem totally fair.
Yeah, I've got no problems with the rules as written for specialty ammunitions. As a D&D player, I know all about min-maxing, and I think anything that gives you options but also controls the amount of shenanigans you can pull,
Silliness.
yeah, is relatively balanced.
Anytime there's more ability for me to customize my ride, I'm happier. Like, for better or for worse, if I can put more flavor onto it. And like,
are you telling me you like more decisions?
It's a complex thing. If I could stick to one decision, and we'll get to that later, then it's great. So it's like, I know what I like, and if I want to do this in every game, like, I can just customize, and now my X mech is different than anyone else's X mech. Just in the way of the ammo bins are filled with, high explosive rounds that go off inside the mech rather than outside of it.
So you're telling me in the Civil War area, you don't have to take your prototype mechs anymore. You can just fill your regular ones with
prototype ammo. There's always something experimental about it. You just have to strip back the armor to find it. But yeah, so I enjoy that. That's a big plus for specialty ammos for me. All right, so do we want to cover the first one, which I think everyone's probably familiar with by this point? Let's go with the autocannons just to start with, because, let's get crazy. And we'll start with the LBX, and that is the cluster ammunition, which we've probably been using for the last 40 years? 40 years, and a couple hundred years before that.
Pretty close.
You want a mech-sized shotgun, so here you go. It's technically a specialty ammunition.
Ballistics users felt bad for not having a cluster table, so welcome to the cluster table, boys.
I think it's more like Chessex wanted to sell more dice.
Oh, you can use one pair and just roll it a whole bunch, or you can make a death box and rattle it until you're
shaky,
so your brain shakes in your head.
Get all the attention from the local game store.
I did just recently felt my entire dice box of death, so it just makes a nice little thud instead of a clacky.
Huh. That's a great idea. I might try that out. I've been averse to the box of death because of how noisy, but if you can felt it,
I'll show you. I'll bring it. All
right. All
right. So cluster ammunition, like I said, we're probably well known, but you get a -1 to hit at all ranges. And then it also gets the flak ability if it's targeting, wing and ground effect and VTOLs and other airborne units. So
you get that sweet, -2?
Yeah, something like that.
Of your -1 or something.
God.
Yeah, it's insane.
It becomes the anti-aircraft ammunition of choice.
Oh yeah. Bring those choppers down.
So if we only had 1 ton, are we switching to cluster every time rather than the regular solid slug?
It depends.
Everything depends.
It depends. If it's an AC-10, I'd say a lot of the times if I only have 1 ton of ammunition, I will still go with the solid, because the AC-10, the LB-10X is just a better weapon, as I've mentioned before.
Yeah.
It's smaller, lighter, better range. So I would use that one. But any of the other ones, like the The LB-20X, I'll definitely, if I had to go with 1 ton of ammo, it'd be cluster.
Yeah. Cluster ammunition is vastly more capable of producing feelings through silly dice rolls. So I will always take my cluster over solid shots. And I love that -1 to hit.
It is nice.
12s and 2s, baby. The more dice I roll, the more chances I get of tacks and headshots. So
See, for me, if I only have 1 ton, I'm almost always just going to go with the regular solid slug.
okay.
It normally works out. Like I'm just taking a limb off, like rather than peppering the mech.
Punching holes instead of sandpapering.
Exactly. But that's because most things that have an autocannon are my hole punchers, not my sand blasters. So it's kind of, it's tricky like that.
Yeah.
But if I have multiple bins, oh my gosh, yes, I will throw a cluster round, a grape shot into there every time.
Yeah.
Because then you make the hole and then you fill the hole. All you're going to get is holes in you.
In you.
But yeah, so I mean, like I said, everyone is using cluster ammo by this point, so I don't think there's too much to say. It is really I don't want to say an opening volley, it's a mid-game to late-game ammunition.
Agreed.
Do we think the LB2X cluster is worthless versus the LB20X cluster, or is that just you get what you pay for, which is -1 to hit, -1 to damage?
I was going to say with the AC2, I would almost always go cluster just because of the -1 to hit.
Yeah.
Because what's the difference between 2 points of damage in 1 point clusters or 1 2-point hit is like Dustin says, twice the chance to get that 1 6.
No.
I mean, you're not there to to do armor damage. It's just it's not going to happen.
Yeah, you're reaching out across the board for the golden BB, and then you get to tell that story that one time you blew up a mech on turn 1.
It's the tickle, and hopefully you get a bad tickle.
So I would probably never go with solid rounds in an LB2X.
Okay. All right. So that's cluster ammo. Like I said, there's no like I'm trading regular ammo for this all the time. Like it's much more situational and very much depends on how much ammo you have to spare.
Yeah. And if I got 2 tons, I'll always take 1 of each for sure. Yep.
All right. So let's move on to the regular and /light autocannons. So,
oh yeah.
Going down the list, let's start at the big one first, and that is armor-piercing ammunition. So, has anyone here used armor-piercing?
I have thought about it.
It's pierced your mind occasionally.
Well, yeah. So I'll get into the rules just a tiny bit here. When you connect with your armor-piercing ammunition, and this is one of the ammunitions that gets a 0.5 multiplier, so you half rounded down. You're making a chance for crit roll, and it starts at 12. Basically, you're trying for 12. You get -4 to your roll. So you're starting at 12 with an AC2, -3 with AC5, and then so -2 for the AC10, which you're trying for 10s, and then, but yeah, basically with an AC20, you're trying to 9 up for your crit on armor. So that kind of turned me off to the probabilities of doing that. I should still try it out. I haven't yet. I will soon. So yeah, and if you get attack, so if you rolled Snake Eyes with your armor piercing, you make 1 at with the multiplier or the -4, and then you make a regular crit chance roll, and then it doesn't do anything special if you hit structure with it. So, but there is an extra chance for feelings. So maybe I should take it for a ride.
Yeah.
What do you think about it?
I'll let you go first.
I was going to say, I don't think you're ever going to make it through all of your AC2 ammo anyway. So if you're taking half as many, since it gives you half the number of rounds per ton, this was made for you and your blackjack.
I should qualify that there is a different kind of specialty ammunition that we will get to shortly that I love, and that's probably why I never took this, because I take the other stuff in place of this. But yeah, I should try it out.
For me, I get diminishing returns as I go up in autocannon bore size. So I find armor piercing better the smaller the autocannon is, just because of like tonnage. Like I'm getting half the rounds rounded down. So
yeah,
a ton of AC20 ammo goes from 5 shots to 2 shots.
That's rough.
And that's pretty rough.
I mean, even if you have 2 bins and you're like, okay, I'll take my 2 shots to try to crit somebody out with an AC 20. I mean, that's just and then you got 7 shots total. If you got two crits, 1 regular and 1 armor piercing, that's tough. Yeah.
That's tough.
If it was half rounded up, I could almost see it, but 2 rounds of AC 20 per ton is just, I can't do it.
You think about that's like 1,000-pound round flying out of the
big boy
Volkswagen Beetles out of your Atlas, right?
So that's my thought on the armor piercing round. I think its value is like perfect at the AC 5, AC 10 range.
Yeah.
Like that. That's where I have enough rounds that I can, and probably enough ammunition that I can. Because what are we talking? Like the average BattleTech game is between 10 and maybe 15, 16 turns.
Yeah.
If you're playing, not as cagey as.
I'm really liking
4 to 9 hours. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you're trying to get stuff done and you're not like,
yeah.
Oh God, I have to pay for each blip of armor in real money and time and blood and sweat. But so
and little math tears.
So that's my biggest issue is you're trading so much. Like I'm not talking about C-bill cost here. I'm just talking about rounds per ton. It's a hard sell.
Yeah. So
for the super big bore, which AC-20 is not a crit finder gun. That is a hole puncher / PSR. I'm going to take your face off gun.
Yeah.
Don't be trying to do other things with your AC-20. It's got one job. Don't change it.
And it does it great.
Here's the thing, Josh. Armor piercing for the AC-20, you get 2 chances per ton. 2. You fire twice. You get to roll a 9 up like each time to see if you get a crit. But if you go to the LB-20X, you get 5 shots, chances. And each 5 shot you fire, you can have up to 20 chances to get the normal crit.
Yeah, with an average of 16. That's
so if you're going to use armor piercing with an AC-20, just abandon that and go cluster rounds. There's no reason not to. Mathematically speaking,
abandon,
you're an idiot if you do that.
Embrace grape shot.
Embrace grape shot. But so that's armor piercing. Like I said, I definitely think it has its place. I don't think the go for the highest chance of crit is the chance you think it is.
Not the place. Yeah. It has a place. That's not the place.
All right. So let's move on to our next ones, which I think you were alluding to, Dustin, which is caseless ammunition.
It was not, but I frankly didn't know that caseless ammunition existed, but it's in the Battle Mech manual. And while doing research for the episode, I was like, look at that. I like this stuff. So quick rules overview on caseless ammunition. If you roll your snake eyes, the weapon jams. You get a funky crit situation that's like an ammo explosion, but it's not an ammo explosion. So just read the rule book. We won't go into that too much. But you suffer a less deadly ammo explosion or whatever, and it crits the weapon out. And you get ×2 of the rounds. So all of a sudden, the opposite of our AC-20 armor piercing ammo situation, we're looking at 10 rounds per ton with a chance to jam the gun on ones on snake eyes. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. No, I mean, congratulations. You've gone to your ultra autocannon for more ammo, which is...
Yeah.
The only issue is you can't switch. Like you have a dedicated gun now for caseless.
Yeah, that's right. I didn't cover that, but you're right. Yeah, it's like, I guess you could assume from the rules that it's like abstracted that you get the whole caseless feed system in there. And
exactly, you have to modify the gun to take the ammunition.
Right, which
makes sense. But
right, yeah.
Oh man, caseless could be like, I don't want to say like, angel descending from heaven to give more ammunition to players that just want to run through shots. But if you have one type of gun, or not even one type, just like 2 guns, and you're like, okay, this one's my fire every turn, ammunition's free, and the other one's the regular / special. That's great. Like, let's do it.
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't get an ammunition explosion. It just you crit. It crits. You get a crit chance on the weapon. So, and then it jams or whatever, and it might blow up, and then you might have to have your Aztec fix it. But yeah, and you could safely run, like your, well, not a ShadowHawk because it's got other bins of other ammunition, but you could run some sort of, you run your cartridgeless ammunition inside of your caseless mech, devoid of case system to protect you from ammo explosions.
It hurts.
Yeah, this is rough. So anyways, we'll move on. But yeah, what do you think about caseless?
So everything we talked about in the armor piercing round is the opposite for the caseless round, which is why I put them next to each other. So I think like to the old King Crabs and stuff, which are double firing, AC-20s and big bore rounds, and thus don't have a lot of ammunition. And they're literally like the MechWarrior is like counting out how many turns of ammunition he has if he fires, and he just takes caseless. He's still got his AC-20 round. If he rolls a 1, like he's got 2 guns most of the time. I don't see problems here. He gets twice the ammunition. He's firing at long range. He's firing at short range. He's firing at everything.
Always fire.
They're not. They think I'm missing. I'm firing for cover. I'm firing at my friends. I'm firing at my enemies. I'm firing because it looks cool.
What do you think, Denham?
I may have missed something. Did you infer that you can have caseless ammunition and then you don't have to worry about case because the ammo doesn't explode?
No, Dustin was making a bad joke and flew over most people's heads. You can use your caseless ammunition in your mech without case.
Got it. Okay, because the ammo definitely explodes if you hit the ammo, but if the gun jams, it crits the weapon itself.
Yeah,
not the ammo.
Right.
Okay. I mean,
the rules lawyers have entered the chat and are now listening.
There are so many versions of the Hunchback that only have 5 rounds of ammo. This is a fun way to sneak in twice the ammunition into those things.
There's variants of the Hunchy that drops to 1 ton.
It just has 1 ton of ammo. Yeah.
They specifically outline that this is like kind of for the Hunchbacks.
Oh.
I'm pretty sure I read that they're like, we thought about the Hunchback when we made this with its 1 ton of AC-20 ammo, and Hunchback pilots everywhere rejoiced.
I mean, yeah, I like caseless. I will try armor piercing to try it. I will take caseless because I'm excited about it in the future.
It's one of those that the only reason why I don't want to take it is because the first time I tried an ultra autocannon, the first roll was a double 1. So the first time I go with caseless ammo,
it will be a double 1.
Gonna roll a double 1 right at the
tragedy.
Beginning. First time I used mask, double 1.
Look,
tough luck.
There's no risk. There's no reward.
There was no reward.
You want extra ammo? You got to pray to the dice gods.
That's right.
And sometimes they hash for it in blood.
I did not make the proper sacrifices.
No. All right, but yeah, that's caseless ammunition. Like I said, I think everyone's like, okay, more ammo. Chance of dying, count me in.
Yeah.
Right. So after caseless, we've got flechette, which is essentially the smaller shotgun for the regular weapons. Rather than shoot out pellets, we shoot darts.
I like to think of flechette as just like shooting chainsaws out of your AC cannons, because it also does double damage to wood and jungle hexes.
Right.
When I hear the flechette, I just go back to the Tukid book and the artilleryman using flechette rounds point blank on elementals with, that are on top of the mech. And I was like, and like 2 neurons just met each other and was like, I like it. Yeah, let's do this forever.
Looking in the battle mech manual, I don't see anything talking about infantry, about full damage to infantry. Is that in a different place?
Page 140?
Page 107 in the battle mech manual.
Yeah, I got total warfare.
Okay.
Oh. I mean, total warfare is
apply the standard damage value of the autocannon to conventional infantry as though the attack were from an infantry unit. Half damage to all other units.
That would be an oversight because the battle mech manual is supposed to be lining up with total warfare.
It's 100% is, because in battle mech manual, all it says is double damage against woods or jungle hexes, half damage versus all other targets round down.
Yeah.
That's all it says.
All right, fellas, we're going to have to find out where the errata lies or whatever.
I wasn't ready for FAQs on recording day.
Yeah, sorry.
But yeah, the battle mech manual is still, it's supposed to be the same as Total Warfare. It's just less Total Warfare. So,
can we find the middle ground there?
I mean, why not both? ¿Por qué no los dos?
That's true. I don't see a problem.
Yeah. I mean, if you only bring, your battle mech manual, then maybe you don't use it. But I mean, I will be honest with you, like, I've never used flechette ammunition, so I mean, yeah, if it does 2 times damage to infantry, then clear out a platoon. I mean,
But it doesn't. It just says full damage, not 2 times damage.
oh, it doesn't. Oh,
In
okay. So
warfare.
So an AC
flechette-
10 deals 10 damage to a,
yeah,
infantry.
flechette seems super situational to, and dedicating a whole ton to basically like digging snipers out of woods. I
Or
mean,
just taking the woods out is all it's doing. It's
Right,
just
right.
taking the woods out.
because you have to target the hex terrain.
Oh, I just realized why it does not state it in the Battle Mech manual
Why is
about
that?
infantry. Because infantry are not in the Battle Mech manual.
Hey, there you go. It's
Ah.
Why
unnecessary.
are they going to
information.
refer to that in the Battle Mech manual if there's no infantry?
We figured it out.
Let's go with the Total Warfare.
Hey,
Yeah.
look at that. So my question is, so an AC 10 with flechette would only deal 10 damage to battle armor. Correct?
It says unarmored infantry.
Ah,
Unarmored,
so what would it do against? It would do half damage against battle
Yeah.
armor.
It would do 5 points.
That
damage.
seems. I feel like we have a lore not matching up with the rules, and I'm for like one of the few times disappointed.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
I wanted to shoot darts at battle armor until
Yeah.
it vaporized.
That would be cool. That would be
I have participated in discussion on flechette ammunition. I have not used it, but I have done the armchair general thing before, and somebody mentioned how they like to use it to, get snipers out of heavy woods hexes. So somebody out there likes it. I need to give it a try. I do not have a strong opinion because I have no experience on it, but it seems super situational for a whole ton of ammunition.
I mean,
have
if you have
zero
multiple
interest.
tons.
I
I mean,
have zero interest in using any flechette ammo at all ever. If I need something out of woods, that's what artillery or Inferno rounds.
Inferno, yeah, you can burn them out.
I
And if you
think,
need to kill infantry, that's also what Inferno's for. So
I mean, I can see that this is if you don't have Inferno rounds or another infantry killing thing, like you have a tank with an AC 10, that's it, and you gotta kill infantry. Well, this
You
is
gotta
your
dash-
one option.
we got a Davian, lance, and we left our dervish at home. So
So when it says full damage, it means not divided by 10 like normal. So it means it actually does 10 points to an infantry squad.
That is how I read it.
20 if they're in the open.
I mean, that's not bad.
All right, I changed my mind.
There's your darts. There's
Suddenly,
your darts.
suddenly I'm excited.
That is a long range, poor bloody infantry clear right there. So
Yeah, this damage is in addition to the doubling of damage against conventional and a clear hex. In addition, double the standard damage against wood hexes. So, yeah.
Okay.
So your AC 20 will wipe a whole platoon plus the guys, back home.
So my urban mech who's in the city just there to clear out infantry. I'll give
Hey, there
him
you go.
flechettes.
not bad. Is it better than the LBX? Because LBX does some good damage versus infantry.
No, LBX, you still roll on the cluster, and then you take that cluster and you apply the damage division to it. This is way better than cluster.
Oh, you don't get one. You don't divide after the cluster. You don't get one trooper per pellet.
Now you're gonna make me look it up.
Right.
I ask because I've used it before that way. I'm like, take a shotgun, and headcanon wise, it makes sense. But
Because my problem is I've only got the BMM open and it doesn't do.
well, we don't have to go into the
It
weeds.
doesn't say
on it.
cluster. It doesn't say cluster.
It doesn't say cluster. It doesn't have the cluster.
I'm raising
tag,
my
so-
hands. Prove me wrong, universe. Heart says yes. Brain say no.
Yeah, but flat or LBX cluster ammunition does have cluster tag.
Correct.
Are we talking about the same thing? Anyways, I don't really actually care that much.
All right, we're moving on. We spent too long on the set. It's anti-inventory. Have fun with it.
Have fun.
All right,
And-
so next is precision ammo, which is the exact opposite.
Yeah,
this,
and
this I think is what Dustin really likes. I'm going to
Yes.
bet that.
Walk
This
us through
was
it,
what I-
Dustin.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. This is the reason I haven't taken other ammos is because I like precision so much. So precision lets you reduce a target's TMM by -2 to a minimum of 0. Remember, folks, this is not a pulse laser. You don't get a flat -2. It's only off of their target movement modifier. So you get your gyrojet stabilized ammunition to track those Savannah Masters and, choppers and other fast bug mechs. And there's even a fun lore bit about a bunch of, I think, blackjacks, like, using precision ammo to take down a battalion of like fast mechs or something like that. But anyways, I like it, especially in like it lets you, nobody hates minuses to hit, right? Like that's always a good thing. And 50% to your ammunition. So once again, I would not, like Josh said, I agree. I would not take this with my AC-20. AC-10, if I had 2 tons, I would take one of precision, one of regular. So I had like 15 shots. That's fine. When are you going to be playing a game that's longer than 15 turns?
Campaign, sir.
Campaign.
Campaign.
Right. Campaign play.
I mean, some people would also call it pain, but
Yeah. But AC-5s and AC-2s, like easy choice. This is the easiest choice for me. Precision.
Talk to us, Denham. I can see you wincing over there.
Not wincing. If I was to do like a Solaris battle, I would totally use precision AC-20s because you're not, you're just there to take out one guy.
You get 2 rounds. You get 2 rounds per ton.
If you can get 2 tons to get yourself 4 rounds, and that negates 2 of their target modifiers, give you that much chance, basically giving you against a faster mech a pulse AC-20. I would sacrifice 6 rounds to ensure better odds on hitting those 4. But that's about the only time I would even think of using precision in an AC-20. I think Dustin's right. I think this, like, the sweet spot would be like the AC-5.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I feel like the sweet spot for all specialty ammunitions is like the AC-5, AC-10 line. I think the AC-20 is good how it is, and the AC-2 is what it is.
We're getting caseless AC-20 ammunition. But no, I know what you're talking about. But yeah, what do you think about precision?
I'm going to lean more towards the Denham side. I mean, reducing a TMM by 2. So we're looking at most 5-6 mechs, which is, most of them. Yeah, it's the majority can at least get a TMM of 2 unless they're going through woods or something. Then you're dealing with a whole nother modifier. But that's 2 better gunnery for free. You just have to give up 3 rounds on an AC-20. Like that's pretty good. I like it.
If you can take an 8 to hit and bring it down to a 6 to hit instead.
So good.
I mean, yeah.
That's free real estate. That's free gunnery skill, people.
You were probably going to miss those other 3 rounds anyway.
That's a good way to look at it. That you've missed them already. And you're not going to miss them because you already missed them. Like,
just don't waste your shots. Wait until they get in close and, blast away.
But yeah, no, I think precision, like I said, with the AC-20, you get 2 rounds per bin. I feel like the sweet spot is on the 2 tons and plus, throwing 2 tons of that on. 2 tons of precision. That's when I don't want to say get up close, because that's when you just go regular, when you're dealing with TMMs of like 0 and 1. But when they're moving, when you're still closing, like you might be in medium range, boom, now you're shooting like you were in short range against the same target.
Yeah.
So
I like it.
Yeah. It's the free real estate ammunition. You hear it here. All right. So that's it for the Battle Mech Manual autocannon ammunitions. So I think all of these are good. Like, I don't think there's a bad one or just a one that's so superior than the other ones. What do you guys think?
I will definitely try all of these out for sure.
Except maybe Flechette. Flechette's like the odd man out. If you're dealing with infantry.
Yeah, if your play group is doing combined arms.
Say again, Denham?
I was going to say, you have to be dealing with a lot of infantry. Just a couple infantry isn't good enough. I would always rather take Inferno rounds than Flechette in almost every situation.
What if you're an enforcer and you don't have Inferno rounds and you're trapped behind enemy lines? That somehow you have a free ton of.
Somehow you still have rear armor.
Exactly.
That's why I said almost.
No, I know. Flechette is like the so single purpose, but it's also very good at that purpose. So I at least appreciate that.
Yeah, I try them all out.
Yeah. So
sure.
I don't think any of them are always takes. I don't think any of them are hot, flavorful trash. Flechette's just a super specific use, but it's so good at that I can't really like blame it for it being it. It's not a phase, Mom. Like I am a Flechette round.
I liked your idea of a tank and infantry killing tank. So not wasted on a battle mech, but in a vehicle, sure.
Man, I mean, a partisan tank with a bunch of Flechettes. Like, oh god, ooh. I kill air and I kill infantry.
And that one you get, like if you had an AC-20, you would get all 5 rounds per ton. And that's 20 infantry dead. Yeah.
Yeah. But all right. So are we ready to move on to the missile side of the coin? See what those guys get?
Let's do it.
All right. So let's start with the odd man out for missiles, which is
You like to attach your propellant to the projectile instead of leaving it behind.
So let's talk about Narc and iNarc pods, because they were kind of like a weird odd man out. Like even in the Ill Clan era, I don't think there's a lot of Narc podding mechs. Like they don't just throw them on to any mech like they do at MML or an SRM or something like that.
Yeah, there's like some really notorious Narc like scout mechs. I feel like
Raven.
Outside of that, yeah, there's a Omni Inner Sphere Omni mech. I think that's the Owens. Does that have Narc?
Yep.
Yeah. So
it's the Omni Raven essentially.
Yeah, and I mean, I have used here, and here's my well, I don't know. Should we talk rules first, real quick?
For what?
For the Narc.
Yeah, sure. Go for it.
Okay. I don't want to go for it.
God,
The
I hate
rules.
you so much. Yeah, so
I'm less familiar with these ones, so I'll let somebody else take the lead on the Narc, unless you really want me to, and then I can read what you wrote down here.
I'll do it.
Okay.
All right. So, like we may have known, the Narc, once it fires like the sticky projectile that locks onto the mech in whatever location it hits. So if you hit something that's just about to, fall off, then it gets that one turn of use, and then it's stuck on the ground attached to whatever you hit.
Right, because the location gets destroyed. That's the only way to get rid of the Narc pod, right? Or something like that.
And you can brush them off with an anti-swarming infantry attack. You can brush one pod off of your choice of location.
Okay.
If you, roll well enough for that.
Is there, like anti-infantry, is there a chance that you're going to hit yourself in the face?
I want to say yes.
Probably.
Yeah. I remember... I'm having to switch to battle armor tactics for that one, but
I can speculate. Probably.
that is the correct way to remove a Narc pod.
Slap yourself. But yeah, Narc has really short range. It's like 369, if I remember correctly, right?
It's an SRM.
Yeah.
Range,
Yeah.
Yep.
Which is pretty spicy for your light mechs that don't have a lot of armor. You gotta get in knife fighting range.
Well, you've got a few big mechs, like you've got the Exterminator, which has one, but
okay,
and the Kintaros and stuff like that. So you've got a nice mix, but there's just not a lot of them, which is the bigger issue.
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Denham?
I was going to say I've used Narcs with hidden mechs. So as a mech came up, you don't get the hidden fire rules mean that you don't have to worry about the target's TMM at all. So you get a pretty good shot in close range.
A Narcum.
And hopefully you're in some heavy woods, so at least you got a little bit harder for them to hit you back.
And then you bug
just
out.
Run.
Yeah.
And you run.
Yeah.
And then you let all your friends with LRMs take out the target.
Yeah, I mean, you get +2 to the cluster table, right? And a -1 to hit.
Yep. Oh,
-1 is for the
Einarch?
Einarch. So
yeah,
okay.
that's for the enhanced.
yeah.
So it's
So that's the homing pod. So that's the standard stock ammunition. That's the cluster for the LBX essentially, but for Einarchs and Narcs. So
and I've tried the combo out before and I just haven't had it work out. So I don't.
Well, it's so similar to Artemis.
Right. All you're getting is the +2.
But Artemis is like you have to put that on every single mech and every single missile launcher on the mech that wants to use it.
Right.
Whereas Narc is like the cheap way. If you're refitting a lance, you only have to refit. You only have to add the weapon to one mech, and then you just have to make sure that you've got homing missile. Like you only have to change like the ammunition on all the other mechs. You don't have to add any equipment. So
it's not heavier,
right? For role playing or campaign wise type of stuff, Narc is way more efficient, way cheaper than going Artemis.
Good to know.
Narc is in the battle mech manual, so
it is.
Yeah. so it's like
Narc also came out with the
Helm memory core.
Yeah, Helm, right?
Yeah. This is old tech.
Forever.
Yeah,
but so that's the homing pod, which, like I said, is the standard ammunition, which I felt like we needed to talk about. But if you don't want to do that, like you don't have a lance that is using all missiles, so you feel like you have one mech that has this option, and it doesn't really truly benefit, which is, I want to say, the bigger reason to take a Narc pod. You take the explosive pod, which rather than getting pluses to clusters of missiles hitting it, it's just a big SRM.
That's pretty fun. Yeah, especially if, like you were saying, you've got sometimes when you're list building, I'm like, crap, this mech has Narc, and I don't want to exploit this or use this. Great, just throw the explosive pods in there, and now it's just like a big SRM, right?
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
I like options, so anything where I can take an old weapon and add more options to it, I'm very happy with.
I like it.
Yeah. So, like I said, you do 4 points of damage with the regular Narc explosive pod and 6 for the improved Narc. So it's not as good as an SRM, like for more weight and less ammo and all that. Like it's a hard sell.
Yeah. But it's lemonade with lemons, right? You know?
Yeah. So if all the mechs in your lance are upgraded to Artemis, it gives you something to do with it. It's not it's not totally wasted.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like I said, I felt like I needed to touch on it. I feel like the Narc is just if you're not using that, then that whole mech with that option is worthless. No, just trade it out for an explosive pod and just, fire a bad medium laser at them.
Yeah.
For ammunition. So, but so we go to the Einarch at least. So once you upgrade, you get a bunch more options because, improve means all the better ammo.
Yeah.
Also with the Apple brand, so it costs more, Einarch.
Yes, but the charging port for it changes every 6 months.
Oh, don't say that. But so this is really when like the Narc pods become much more like a single mech with an Einarch can do sole purpose in the lance and still be effective at it. Like, so the first one we're gonna talk about is the ECM pod, and that's literally just slapping ECM onto a target. Like,
that's pretty fun.
Yeah. And I wrote here, it must be jammed because jelly don't shake. And
only one man would dare raspberry me.
So, yeah, you're literally throwing a range 0 ECM bubble onto a mech. If you've got a streak boat, just fire this at them. Streaks don't work anymore, and they have to like do the anti-infantry like shake down to see if they can get it off. And while they're doing that, you're firing at them.
Streaks won't work. Artemis doesn't work.
Yeah. C3 won't work. Fire that on a C3 master when we get to that.
Get wrecked.
Pay your bills. So it's like a non-damaging. Now they're paying for BV that they can't use, which I think is just as good as damage in most games.
Yeah. Yep. All right.
That's one of those things. I mean, it's a great concept, but like you said, it's BV damaging, not mech damaging. So if somebody built an entire force and you just go in there and hit them with one of those, it negates so much of their battle value. It can cause at the table a lot of bad feelings.
Yeah, I mean, everything can kind of cause bad feelings, but
that more than most.
Yeah, that's your special ability has no effect on me.
But I guess
I paid for the special ability.
If you can scrape it off, so if you have a chance to fix that,
Yeah.
and they don't just hit you with another one.
Yeah. So, like I said, it has a purpose. It is an option, and it's not a bad option, which is, I feel like, the 3 key points in special ammunitions. So, let's go to the next one.
I would say, what else do we have?
We've got the Haywire pod. So it's almost like ECM, but it just shocks them. And like it kind of disrupts their systems. So once this attaches, it gives them a +1 to all weapon attacks and tag. And because their computer's fighting off your, Haywire pod, that unit cannot spot for LRMs while it's attached.
Yeah, I just imagine like your HUD just kind of doing that blurry thing where the crosshair won't stay on anything, and the range, your little range numbers keep blurring out and changing to letters.
See, that's how you imagine it. I imagine it as a giant USB that's fired and just like hits it, and it's like Windows update started in 3, 2, 1. Would you like to save your work? No. Override.
Yeah, Haywire seems like fun.
Yeah. So yeah, no damage, but we're playing more with the electronic warfare aspect. So I like the ability to like modify dice rolls one way or another. Either you shoot better or the enemies shoot worse. Like you said to him, it's kind of a feel bad, but it's not.
Haywire isn't as feel bad as to me as the ECM one, especially on a C3 master.
Yeah. Oh God. I've shut down your entire communications network.
That's specifically what's the feel bad to me. But we'll talk about that. Ignore me right now. We'll talk about that with our C3
C3-isode
or C3-isode, because then we can really go into ECM, ECCM, etc.
Yeah. But I mean, for me, like I said, this is free. I don't want to say free real estate, but you're making their gunnery skill higher, which means they're paying for more than what they get, which is
battle value.
It's a very meta thing to do. And there's not actually a whole lot of ways you can do that besides heat and, a few ECM things like this. All right. So next we've got the Nemesis pod. All right. So now I've got to reread it.
This is the one that turns all homing ammunition on the enemy team.
Yes. So
it's pretty funny.
This is, hey, those missiles you're firing, they're my missiles now.
Yeah.
This is like every 80s episode of anything with like jets or helicopters that have homing missiles coming after them, and they trick those missiles into going after the enemy instead.
Right.
Who fired them. Like this is so an 80s episode.
Yeah. So there's a roll, and if successful, the enemy missiles are diverted and they hit your target. Unsuccessful, they go to the original intended target. And I mean, you get a +1 to fire, but like,
yeah, there's some rules interactions here, just that are interesting, and that's all I'll say. There's a lot of verbiage here on this Nemesis stuff, but
Comstar and /Word of Blake was really like, how can we mess with people and make them hate us even more?
Even more.
I can just see the crate that the Nemesis pods come in. Like etched on the side is just, why are you hitting yourself?
Oh, it's just paint. It's just whatever paint you're using for your mechs. It just hits them, and the guy turns around. Wait, no, it's me, guys. I swear.
So these pods, the Einarch,
Mhm.
this to me is very much like on a special forces mech. This is
You mean the Exterminator special that Comstar uses?
yeah, stuff like that. Exactly. It's for campaign operations. You know, you definitely want to have a mech on your team that can do all of this stuff. And it's very flavorful in my brain. And I love that about things like the Swiss Army-ness of the Einarch.
Yeah.
I love the idea of it a lot. Aside from the bad feels that it can give, like on the actual tabletop game playing against other people, the idea of this, I really, really love it.
Yeah, I mean, these are almost beautiful for campaign play, like where you have one dedicated electronic warfare guy, and he's just like, he's got special roles that like are either homebrewed or just like from his manual. It's like, hey, I don't do damage, but I debuff the entire enemy's force. Like, I look
Exactly.
because most mechs that have Einarchs and stuff have multiple tons of pod, so they're not just going in with 4 tons of homing pods. No, they're going in with a homing pod to like hit on a few key targets, and then an ECM to tag, and then Haywire, Nemesis. Like they're taking whatever they need for the mission plus all the other options.
Yeah, because the Ironarch gets 5 different pods that it can take.
Yeah,
which is great. Yeah, 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. What about you, Dustin?
Another thing I'd be definitely willing to try. It looks like fun.
Oh yeah.
Especially for that, special operations narrative game. Like, come on.
Yeah, definitely make people rage. I'm just trying to hit you. I'm overheated. I'm haywired. I'm Nemesis. I just want to play Battletech. All right, so let's get out of the pods and get back to the ammunition.
Yeah.
Let's go for back to a common one that I think everyone's used, and that is the Inferno rounds for SRMs. So they don't do any damage. Unlike the Flamers, which have your special rule, Denham, don't worry, I'm remembering you. But instead of damage, they do 2 heat. What they do damage to, and a whole lot of damage, is infantry and battle armor. So they kill 3 infantry per every missile that hits, and they kill 1 battle armor for every 3 missiles that hit. So think 3 to 1, and just remember infantry is the 3, and then the battle armor is the 1. So, but also they get automatic crits on vehicles depending on where they hit. Yeah.
Auto critting vehicles with Inferno SRMs is like chef's kiss. Mwah.
It's the best.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, Infernos are great.
The guys I play with the missions campaign, they have learned to love Inferno.
Uh-huh.
Because of anti-infantry and the vehicle crits.
Anti-vehicle, like they just do work on combined arms.
Yeah.
It's very much an all-purpose round. Like, yeah, you're not doing damage, but 2 heat depending on how many missiles you're firing. Like, you can, if they do their math wrong and they don't expect you to fire Infernos when they think you're firing heat, like there's that little bit of mental game. Yeah, you can overheat a mech. Like he can overheat himself. He could ammo explosion. He could shut down.
Yeah, and I've played against plenty of Inferno too. I've you were talking about with Kurt. He loves to take the javelin with 1 ton of regular and 1 ton of SRM, and he sent a javelin after my
javelin.
Thank you.
It's a javelin.
The javelin. He sent his javelin after my classic Victor. That's such a grudge match with me and him. I'm always bringing a Victor or whatever. But he'll shut down all the rest of the auxiliary weapons on a Victor. I can basically only shoot my AC-20 or some of my lasers and stuff with Inferno. So it's good against mechs, good against vehicles, good against infantry, good against armored infantry. What's not to love?
Yeah,
Nothing. It's the perfect missile.
It's great.
Even the dumb ShadowHawk that I love so much, I always take that SRM2 in its head and put Inferno rounds in there.
Yeah.
Always.
Good stuff.
Yeah, no. If I only had 1 ton, I probably wouldn't switch. If I had 2 tons, I would definitely have 1 ton of Inferno.
Oh,
This 1 ton is 50 rounds. But the ShadowHawk does not overheat, so you don't have to worry about the Inferno rounds cooking off, because they do cook off at a lower heat temperature than other ammo.
There's a special table for that, kids.
Yeah. They're not perfect, but they are good.
They are good.
All right, so that's really the only like Battle Mech Manual SRM one, if I'm correct. Yeah, so I think everyone realized that SRMs are just really good, and they don't really need a lot of special ammunition. Like everything they try, it's not as good as just those two. So
yeah,
but they do have some other special ones, but those are like on the pedestal, and everything else is just kind of bowed down beneath them.
You can have Narc equipped SRMs.
Okay. Yes, you can have Narc equipped SRMs. And Artemis equipped.
Artemis 5.
Yeah, so
SRM.
like I'm sorry, I don't consider those like special ammunitions. Those are just upgraded. Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, okay, no, we can talk about it. We can talk about it.
Yeah, technically Artemis ammunition is upgraded LRM ammunition, but it's like it's the same thing, but it's like
it's just now usable with that system. The ammunition doesn't get the bonus.
I think of it as just like
the launcher.
More expensive missiles you have to buy for your fancy computer guided missile system.
Yeah.
Not like your hot swap on the field, right?
Yeah.
I guess these are your more easily swapped. Like literally, like when I'm going to play a game, discuss this all with your opponent or whatever, but like you're like, oh, I'm swapping out this for a ton of this. Like you can just cross it out on the record sheet, especially if you know the rules or if you consult your Battle Mech manual for all the stuff we've covered so far, and you can just switch it out. It's a hot swap.
Yeah.
Right. But if you're doing campaign, you've got to remember that almost all specialized ammunition is twice as much as regular ammunition.
Be expensive, fellas.
Wait, C-bills aren't free?
Yeah.
Okay, so yes, Artemis and, all that. All right, but yes, let's move on to LRMs now.
Let's do it.
All right, so let's start out with the weird one, which is semi-guided missiles.
Yeah. And these are like a Free Worlds League thing. So I've played with semi-guided LRMs. They're bonkers. They are so good that you have to pay BV for them. That's how good they are. So yeah, if you get a tag on your target, you like just ignore everything. Basically, you ignore like
ignore the
modifier,
TMM.
So
you ignore penalties for indirect fire. You ignore terrain, and you ignore spotting modifiers.
I mean,
yeah, that's insanity.
Basically, because there's a special pilot ability in the campaign operations called Oblique Attacker.
We're not going to get on the Oblique Attacker ride.
We're not, except for I just want to say that semi-guided, if you can hit a tag target, semi-guided is better. It gives you better odds to hit than Oblique Attacker because it also ignores TMM and Oblique Attacker does not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So these are better than Oblique Attacker. And anybody who knows what I'm talking about, take that to the bank.
Yeah.
But they do cost a lot more C-bills. Like that is the penalty.
C-bills and BV.
And battle value.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the ammunition we've covered so far, I'm pretty sure you don't have to make a BV adjustment for them. These
you do.
Okay.
And we'll explain that later. But basically the BV cost is on the unit with a tag. You take all the other units in the Lance that have ammo that uses tag for things like that, and you add it to the tag equipped mech as BV for it.
Right, for tag stuff like tag affected ammunitions. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
okay.
It's crazy. BV is definitely something you want to use something like Mega Mech to figure out for you.
Yeah.
Let the computer do the math for your computer missiles for you.
Yeah. Semi-guided is like it is. I have to. I can't hot swap that on game day. I have to build it into the list ahead of time. And you want to include the tag, right? The tag unit, so you can actually use your ammunition. But yeah, it is totally insane. And all of a sudden you're, the best of situations with an indirect attack, you're typically rolling like 9s with an indirect LRM attack. You can't get much lower than 9s with regular pilots, or maybe even 3, 4. Anyways, the semi-guided just turns, you're like, oh, I'm rolling 5s to hit with LRMs, like from an indirect attack. Yeah, it's nuts.
I mean,
what's not to like?
Exactly. Like C-bills and BV, like those are practically free. I mean, you're ignoring 4 penalties to hit. Like that's insane. Like this makes precision ammo look bad in comparison.
Oh, yeah. And this is like, since we're in Civil War era, don't put tag on mechs that are just going to get blown up. Say you're fighting against clan, some really high BV force. Don't use mechs with tag to try and spot for them. Just put a bunch of infantry in woods.
Yeah,
super cheap. It's going to take them a couple turns to kill those infantry, but the infantry are tagging them every turn, and you're going to wear them down before they take out all your infantry.
Yeah. So semi-guided, possibly too good, need its nerf. Maybe. The only problem with tag is it you can't fire it as a hidden unit. If you're firing tag, it's considered firing a weapon, so you reveal your position. There's no secret tag.
Yeah. You resolve tag attacks like any other attack, really.
Yep.
It's a gun you shoot.
Yep. It just happens to come in its own phase. It's really weird.
Yeah, like before the attack phase, because technically you see if you tag the stuff and then you shoot the rest of your stuff.
Yep.
All right. So let's move on to another specialty LRM, which is swarm LRMs, which were one of my favorites in, the video games.
Right. These came out. I remember when these came out, and then, like I said, they disappeared from the BMM. They went to the tactical operations book.
Oh, they were in the BMM for a hot minute?
They were never in the BMM. They were in the first place I saw them was the technical readout 3050 that had all the cool clan invasion stuff. Basically, the Helm Core editions for Inner Sphere, and then the clan. The clan stuff. So, just the Ultra AC5 and LB-10X, none of the other special autocannons, but it had the swarm missiles, and it's not in the Battle Mech manual. So it got changed to not tournament legal.
It is in Mega Mech. Like it is, if you just open and go to configure and go, it is an option. So it's...
Mega Mech has almost everything from tactical operations in it.
But it does not have the weird stuff. Like the weird stuff. But this is an option. So if you're doing like a Mega Mech battle, it is a default option. Like that's the weird part, because it is the ammunition that's on the weird. Like, is this legal for some things? Maybe. Is it for this one? Definitely not. No.
If you're looking for the really weird stuff from tactical operations, you have to go in and toggle those switches on in Mega Mech. So, but it's interesting to know that Swarm is just a default option in there. So what does Swarm do?
So Swarm is essentially, hey, all those missiles that missed, would you like to keep going? And
I paid for all the missiles.
Why, yes, I
paid for the whole cluster. I'm going to use the cluster.
Yep.
So once you fire a volley of missiles, any that miss your original target are treated as a second flight of missiles, essentially, for a target that is in an adjacent hex. And, I mean...
So when you've got that melee bunch all in the middle, and you don't care about your friends, you fire all these, because it doesn't care if it's friendly or enemy when they miss. Yeah. It just locks on to the next mech.
Yeah. So that second volley is considered a secondary attack, so for purposes of modifiers and all that, but that's still not bad. Like, if you do have like a whole bunch of things that are, running next to each other and trying to like death ball.
Yeah. Conga line.
Yeah. Just throw the swarms. And it's like, okay, statistically, I won't hit everything in my cluster, 2 to 12. But if I get those missing missiles to hit, that's at least better. Like, I'm getting more of my missiles to hit, which is nice.
It's something any lance with the archers, catapults, and longbows desperately needed.
Yeah. Oh man.
Because I believe these came out like before any of the Artemis things. They were just trying to find a way to make missiles better against the clans.
Yeah. I mean, that's in lore, Swarm was a Star League tech.
Yes.
And of course, like all Star League tech gets, destroyed and rediscovered or reinvented and, same name. But
the reason why it was put into books was to say, wow, LRMs are not doing well, but we don't want people to not use them.
Exactly.
Let's come up with something really cool.
Yeah. But the best, I was just going to say, but also if you miss that whole first volley, you get to try again with that second target, which
that is so nice. Especially if you only need 5s or 6s to hit and you roll that 4, they're not completely wasted.
Yeah, which I think is, I don't want to say LRM should just work like this in general. Like, hey, target things that are nearby if you miss. Like, enemies over there, just do things over to there. But to whom it may concern is written on all Swarm missiles.
And are those like ton for ton? Or are they?
I'm pretty sure they're ton for ton.
Cool. I think they are too.
Yeah. And what is it? Swarm improved missiles. Just get that +2 to hit when they target a friendly unit. So make it harder to
some sort of IFF circuitry added in there.
Yeah. So it can be dangerous. Don't trust your Swarm missiles. It's to whom it may concern, not to enemy it may concern. But yeah, I mean that's Swarm. I like Swarm from a nostalgia perspective as well. So,
and yeah, ammo is 1 for 1, so
cool.
A ton is a ton.
Yeah, not many of the missiles do the weird half-ton. Yeah, I think that's just because so many mechs only have 1 ton of missile ammo. But let's move on from the Swarm, which is, legal-esque. All right, so we've got Frag, which is the LRM equivalent of Flechette.
Yeah. Roll damage to infantry.
You don't need to roll in the cluster table. So LRM 5 is
against woods and jungles.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I mean, it's
just like Flechette.
It's just like Flechette. Like, that is the best way to say it. No cluster table.
Not just like it. Flechette does half damage to everything else, and fragmentation missiles do 0 damage to anything else.
You're right. It's worse than Flechette. They didn't know how they could until they did. What do you think, Dustin? Are you ever going to take a frag ton of LRMs?
Probably not.
What about on your What about on your Grasshopper with this single LRM5? Because the original model is the best model.
What are you gonna, man? Let's take a guillotine. Anyways,
if my Grasshopper had an autocannon, so I could put both Flechette and fragmentation, and just had to go around looking for infantry.
Yeah, maybe I would switch it out. In that. Yeah, because what do you do with that LRM5? You're not going to put semi-guided. You're not going to do Swarm.
You can do Thunder and get little tiny landmines.
But the landmine 5 roll is like pretty hard, right?
It's an LRM5, man.
Yeah.
Even that's only going to do 5 points to infantry.
You get what you pay for. So yeah, frag. Yeah, why not? Try it out on that old Grasshopper.
It's Flechette for missiles. P.S. Don't put it on the Grasshopper. That's the next advice for the day.
If you ask Kurt, he would tell you what you're actually supposed to load into the LRM5 on the Grasshopper's head is smoke.
Yes. So the next ammunition is the smoke LRM rounds. And the best way to describe these is, would you like to shoot light woods out of your LRM5?
Yeah. So depending on the size of the cluster, you get more smoke, and you target the hex. So you can lay down some cover. You even get I think there's even light and heavy smoke.
Yes.
and it goes away after a couple turns.
If you're playing with wind, it can drift, it can dissipate. There's a whole other thing just for smoke rules, which I almost don't want to get into just because it's like its own thesis on the physics of Battletech smoke.
Yeah, we don't need to go into it, but it's an option. You can use them to lay down cover.
And honestly, smoke, especially if you're dealing with wind speed and drift, it makes a Battletech game that would normally take an afternoon take a full weekend.
Yeah, this is MMO rules, which stands for Mega Mech Only people.
Oh.
I like that.
I read that as Moo for a second. I was like, why is it Moo?
It's massively multiplayer? No, it's Mega Mech Only.
Mega Mech Only.
Oh,
you want to play with smoke? Yeah, only on the computer. Sorry.
So we'll go over that stuff on the Mega Mech episode because there's a lot of MMO.
A lot of Moo to go around.
Yeah. There's tiers with most things in Battletech. I think the light duty, like the tournament legal smoke rules are not too bad.
No.
But anyways.
But I think the smoke LRM rounds are cool because they kind of relate back to the Einarch, all non-offensive, but all defensive.
Okay, so thinking.
Oh no, we got Denham going. Okay.
All right. Once again, here we are in the Civil War era. We're using more combined arms. We're using artillery. We're using landmines. If I'm defending a position and there's some really good woods cover, not only am I going to mine the hell out of that, but I'm also, when you're using artillery, you get to choose 5 hexes on the map that always hit. You don't have to roll for scatter. I'm also going to do the heavy woods and good light woods groups. To start, if somebody on the other side tries to take cover in there, they're going to take a lot of damage. Smoke would let them put out woods hexes wherever they want it that I haven't already mined or locked in with artillery.
Yeah.
So that's what I would use it for.
No, I would definitely throw this on cheap infantry and just smoke you, sir. No smoke you. No, I mean, like I said, smoke's good. It's not. I wouldn't be changing tons out for it for dedicated offensive systems. But just single LRM5 for a grasshopper, I could be persuaded to.
I would put smoke in there way before I would put frag.
Aww. What else? Yeah, no, that's pretty much it for our Battle Mech manual and Battle Mech legal, maybe, but not really LRMs. So that's enough for Inner Sphere. Let's go over to clans real quick because, once again, they feel left out because they have ultra autocannons and LBX, which guess what? You can't use special ammunitions in clan ones.
Technically, LBX are cluster, which is special ammunition.
Yes.
Yes.
It is a weapon with its own dedicated special ammunition.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of falls in that Artemis
category.
Actually. But ATMs are new.
Yeah, so the Advanced Tactical Missile System. So clans felt, kind of left out. They thought they weren't doing enough. So
they didn't think they're
no minimum range LRMs.
Yeah.
They're like our missile systems aren't efficient enough. We want to fire everything out of one.
So this is a Clan Coyote tech, and essentially it's got 3 different types of ammunition. And that is, you got your standard, your extended range, and your high explosive. So they made damage 1, damage 2, and damage 3 missiles.
Yeah. So your standard missiles have the same range bracket, if memory serves, the same range brackets as regular LRMs.
Pretty much.
Yep.
The standard goes up to 15.
It's pretty much, yeah. It's 5, 10, 15 with a minimum of 4. So clans now have a minimum range, but it does 2 damage per missile. So they kind of did a weird combined SRM with LRM.
Okay.
What?
The
give it to me, Denham. Give me
missile, 3 missile. It still done in groups of 5 cluster, though.
Yes. All of the ATMs are still done in groups of 5. So if you hit 2 high explosive missiles, which do 6 damage total, don't ask me how, but the math says almost 2 missiles hit one location, and a little bit of that other missile hits somewhere else.
These are not 3 damage SRMs. They are just, you add it all up and then you divvy it up into blocks of 5, cluster 5.
So let's go back. So like I said, standard and extended range have minimum ranges of 4. So they are dedicated, not short range missiles.
Mm-hmm.
The standard goes up to 15 in brackets of 5, 10, 15. Pretty close to an LRM. And then the extended range is 9, 18, 27, which is insanely long. Like,
a medium range of 18 is, I mean, that's a regular PPC range, right? So
that is a 16 by 17 table. Like, like that is a map sheet, is medium range.
Yeah.
Long range is diagonals of those map sheets.
At 1 damage each for the long range.
Yeah. And then
extended range, sorry.
And then the high explosive is minimum range 0. Short 3, 6, 9. So it's just like an SRM with +1 damage.
3 damage.
With clusters of 5. So all right. This is what I want to say is the hard one, because a lot of the clan ones only have 2 tons to give. Yep. So they make you pick between standard, extended range, and high explosive. They make you pick between damage 1, 2, or 3. What is your go-to? Like, what is the always take one of these?
I always take high explosive.
As we all nod. Yes. Damage good. Big number
damage good. Big number. I mean, I have
people get in your face. You've got that 3 damage, no minimum range.
I mean, I've rolled like 50 something damage with high explosive rounds. So that's never a bad thing.
The first time I ever encountered ATMs was against you, Dustin. We didn't play a 1-on-1, but it was in one of those early CDT missions that I did, and you had a Shadowcat, I believe.
I did have a Shadowcat.
That had ATMs, and you used standard and HE against me to devastating effect.
They're crazy good. I love, so usually my loadout is standard and HE. I don't care too much for the ER because that's what regular clan LRMs are for, without a minimum range. So I don't need 27 hexes at long range. 18 and medium is nice, but I feel like there's so much overlap for me, and I play on feelings. So if I got 3 tons, I'll take 1 of each probably. But if I've only got 2 tons, it's standard and HE all day long.
Yep.
Oh yeah. I mean, Josh, have you played with them?
I have. I actually play with ATMs a lot.
Yeah. What do you do?
I always take standard and high explosive because I'm only normally playing on 1 map. Like 1 map sheet, 116 by 17.
Like,
and
mistake number 1.
I'm just running, like I'm just sprinting that first turn because there's no point in shooting. They can't shoot. I can't shoot. Nobody's shooting. So there's no point to like okay, am I within 17 X's or 18 X's? Like, no.
Josh, how do you play on only 1 map sheet? I can't play on anything less than 2.
It's perfect for like a lunch table at somewhere.
Then don't use Clan Max. The ranges are just too big.
Josh is like, your first mistake was assuming that I was playing the range game with Clan Max.
That's true. I was like, excuse me, sir. I wrote the book on brawling with Clan Max. They still teach my course in AIS.
It's true. I learned that lesson once.
So I feel like you should always take a high explosive. And then you have to look at, okay, what kind of field am I looking at? What other things are in my Lancer Star? But standard will win out, I want to say 2 times for every 1 time the extended range wins out. Just because, yes, the extended range is almost always going to get that first volley or 2. And then you just have to be committed to high explosive.
Yeah.
No,
ATMs come in like weird amounts too.
That's
like
what I was just about to
3,
say. Dustin.
5, 7, 12 or
No,
something.
it's 3, 6, 9, 12.
There you go. Okay. So
yeah,
man,
12 missiles at 3 damage a missile. That's gross.
disgusting. Have you used them, Denham, or have you just?
No, I've only played against them.
Okay. Do you look forward to using them? Are you going to bring?
Yeah. This is something that I will definitely use.
Yeah, one of my favorite late era mechs is my Warwolf, which is ATM's large pulse lasers or laser. It's great. 2 ATM9s. Anyways, ATMs are cool. Bring them.
All right. So on the other spectrum of ATMs,
you want advanced tactical missiles? No, you don't get
dumb.
advanced missiles anymore.
When you like quantity over quality, let me introduce you to the MRM, Josh.
Yep. So going back to the inner sphere here.
That's right, because we've got long-range missiles, and we got short-range missiles, and we got medium-range missiles, which just fires a ton of dumb missiles just in the forward direction.
My first experience with MRMs was MechWarrior 4, Vengeance. I was like, what are these missiles? They just go straight.
That's right, no tracking at all.
Yeah.
So what that means, though, in game terms, is it's a +1 to hit always. But you can fire them in groups of 40?
40, yeah.
Yeah, because they have MRM
10, 20, 30, and 40.
30 and 40s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So 40 is a lot of missiles.
You know the gif of Megas XLR when Coop goes, missiles, more missiles, flips the switch, all the missiles. And
now these... Oh, sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, that's what these are. The problem is, just like that, they don't all hit.
Yeah, it's like that anime cloud of missiles that comes out and just swirls everywhere.
Yeah.
Explosions everywhere, and then the hero comes out with almost no damage.
Yeah.
They, like LRMs, do 1 damage a missile, but are grouped into groups of 5. But like I said, one of them can fire up to 40.
Yeah. I have a Chimera painted up for my Legion of Vega. I play in, Civil War and later eras, and I love the thing.
Oh,
and it's got that MRM. I love it.
Yeah. In my Karita Lance, I have both, on the table, in metal, I have both an Akuma and an Odachi.
Yeah.
And they both have multiple MRM launchers.
Yeah. So they miss a lot.
But when they hit, you've been hit.
Fun. Yeah.
Well, on the Nodachi, I'll go over this later. Never mind.
Oh. But yeah,
it's in my lance below.
So I think you can tell that Denham and I like them. Josh, what do you think about MRM?
I've only ran them on the Sha Yu, and they're good, but they're not as you look and you think big missile, big cluster, big damage, and it doesn't work out like that on paper.
Oh yeah, when you average it all out.
As long as you can convince the enemy that that's what's going to happen, then they stay away from your mech.
Yeah.
It's all about psychological warfare.
I did better with my King Crab with its regular AC-20s that game than I did with my Sha Yu with MR-40s.
Because, me as a Karita player, I'm all about the psychological warfare.
They were much more scared of the AC-20s than the MRM-40s. Wait.
Well, that's because you had a King Crab. But if you didn't have a King Crab, you'd need something to scare them away.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd say that's the bigger issue is okay. I mean, they do get better. You do get the Apollo fire control system, which, is later tech. And I know you're like, well, but
is it better? We'll talk about it when the Jihad comes around.
Yeah. But +1 to hit is hard. You either have to offset that with gunnery, but
yeah, it's hard to roll less than 8. You're looking for almost always 8 and up with your MRMs. It's tough, but
if they were a
fun.
clan weapon system, I would probably have a different tune.
Like the heavy lasers.
Yeah, if they ignored something, if I got the penalty for okay, these do something else. But that's just me. That's just my opinion. they are, I want to say, the middle of the pack. They're not as good. I mean, that's
medium,
exactly,
yeah.
they're medium. Like, that's exactly their problem.
What kind of range do they have? They have 3, 8, and 15.
So SRM, a little bit of LRM, and then way more under the LRM.
Yeah, and that's why I'm always like 8 ups on those, because it's not 5, 10, 15, it's 3, 8, 15, which is, 8 medium range 8 is pretty doable. Short range 3, that's tough.
I would like it better if these also had cluster bonuses the closer you were.
That's what it needs. It needs
Like
something to make sure I get more damage as I take the risk to get closer. Because a lot of the mechs that have MRMs don't, like, they've got stealth armor or something like that. So it's rough. It's just a rough mismatch between the chassis and the weapon system. So,
yep.
All right. Do we have any other thoughts before we give out some special mentions and participation awards for other ammunitions? Participations.
I think we covered the tournament legal ammunition pretty well.
Yeah. So those are the ones you're almost, I don't want to say always going to see, because, well, you might just be the standard crowd, and that's okay. But
yeah, just about everything we've covered so far, you're gonna find in your slim book.
If you brought it to my table, I would allow it. Everything we've covered,
I'll allow it.
All right, so let's move on to the special mentions and the runners-up of today's special ammunition Rowdown. So let's start out with the first one, Magnetic Pulse, aka the worst Inferno with a +1 to target's gunnery.
Now, is this a short-range missile ammunition?
What does this do? It does it do heat damage, or it just makes the enemy mech not shoot as well?
It inflicts no damage.
Yeah.
But it gives you a +1 to hit modifier on all the target's unit weapon attacks starting basically for the next turn.
Is it short range haywire, sort of?
Kinda. It messes with the engine's containment software, and you get a heat spike, and then they were discontinued. Like, the haywire pod is the better upgraded version of this. So
okay,
right.
Like I said,
it also gives you heat, like an Inferno.
Oh, it does give you heat. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like I said, your engine, like, oh god,
oh god.
But it only goes up for like every 3 SRMs that hit, the target's heat would go up by 1, or every 5 LRMs that hit, it would go up by 1.
Oh, interesting.
All right. So, yeah, like I said, we're only going to touch on these, so like maybe 60, 90 seconds per type, because these are for campaign and narrative games.
And,
do not use these in, and expect to do good things. These are merely for flavor, to make your homebrew lance. Like, we raided this facility and we took all of the X missiles that were just lying around, like super hyper prototype type A. Do not use, immediate disposal, please. And they're like, cool, we'll take those.
True, but the Mag Pulse are both SRM and LRM capable.
Okay, cool. But yeah, so like I said, literally discontinued after 3065. So
okay,
the softwares were patched, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so it doesn't even work anymore. But so next one is anti-TSM warheads, which
okay, come on. Like, is this I read about in a book, and I think it was invented just for that story.
That was the whole purpose of the Davians leaking prototype triple strength Myanmar to the Capellans. They would then upgrade all of their mechs with prototype TSM, and then the Davians would come in and shoot the gas, essentially, which used smoke rules for the scenario, and your mech's now failing because the Myanmar's exploding.
Yeah, failing spectacularly. So I don't count this. I count this as a fluff.
Yeah, no, this is pure fluff. So, and it doesn't matter because Capellans made TSM immune and better, essentially. Yep. So, All right, next one is Acid SRMs.
I kind of like these.
I agree. This is, you get a -2 to your cluster, but you get 3 damage to your pharaohs and your other special armor. So like your reactive and all that. And any of the weirder non-standard armors. It does 2 damage to regulars, and this was a weapon purely designed to be anti-clan and all their fancy armor tech.
It does also do 1.5 standard damage to infantry.
Who's shooting anti-clan missiles at infantry?
Like acid. If I'm shooting fire at infantry, you better believe I'm also shooting acid at infantry.
That's poor infantry.
TBI.
Oh God,
You're so poor.
what do you think, Dustin? 2-second opinion.
Acid sounds like fun.
Sounds like fun. It does sound like fun.
And, against weird armor. So cool.
All right, next one, anti-radiation.
This is too much like a real weapon to me.
Yeah.
You read this and you're like, oh, so it shoots, neutron blocking, stuff. You have to read it deeper. No, it finds the radiation sources and it homes in on them.
Yep.
So
yeah, sources like ECM and any sort of active probe or Artemis fire control systems.
C3. Yeah, no, anything that's like, hey, I have better computer software than missiles. Like, I hurt you more now.
Yep. You're fine. You're using infrared, homing in on it. You're using the light spectrum to improve your warfare capabilities. I'm going to home in on that.
And it's a -1 to hit and +1 on the cluster table is how it works in game.
Cool.
Turn off your radar, kids.
Yep.
Is this a Hive Fleet episode? What? All right, next one. Dead fire missiles. Oh man, these are...
I don't actually know much about these at all.
These are -3 to the cluster. They do +1 damage because, well, they've got more warhead. The range is reduced by 33%. And I see someone said, I thought these were erased out of the game. Probably.
They got moved, right? Weren't you saying, Denham, they got moved from tournament legal to not anymore or something?
No, that was something else I was talking about.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know anything about dead fire missiles. That's what I'm saying. But it sounds like
these also
like
explode in the bit, or not in the bins, in the launchers if the launchers hit. So yeah,
it sounds like what's the word I'm looking for? The older tech stuff.
I mean, most of these are older tech. These are like scenarios, missiles.
There's whole technical readouts on mechs that are made with rifles, which are basically smoothbore cannons, where they have the same sizes as your autocannons, except for against mechs they do -3 points of damage down to like 0. So if it's an AC3, it does 0 damage to a mech, but regular damage to almost anything else. So it's retro tech.
Ah, interesting.
But yeah, so less missiles hit, more damage. You're probably coming out still behind. So that's the thing.
Yeah.
All right, follow the leader. So you get +1 to your cluster and +2 to hit. So, but the best part is they all hit the same location.
Right. So if you fire an LRM-20 with follow the leaders and you manage to hit, all the missiles that hit are in one location. I like that. I like it a lot.
I wish this one was a standard one just for that purpose. Like, yeah, if you have like 2 tons. We're not there yet.
Oh, are we not there? I guess we're not there yet. Okay. When are Thunderbolts? Is that Jihad?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Never mind. Ignore me, as usual.
I was about to say. But yeah, so I do wish the follow the leaders were a more standard missile, because I would love to just swap out a ton and just like, okay, I have a harder chance of hitting, but I'm like essentially targeting my shotgun of missiles to one location.
It's on MechWarrior 5. You can actually get different types of LRMs. One of them is a stream, and one of them is like a cloud fire, and that's basically what it is. Because one just fires all the LRMs in a big cloud, and they all swoop down and hit, and then the other one just fires fires them one at a time really, really fast, and it's just a stream that arcs over, and they all hit in one place. So that's how I view it in my head anyway, is exactly how they have it on MechWarrior 5.
All right. So, yeah. No, I like them. Like I said, if they were more legal, I would probably run these more often. At least I would dedicate a bin or two to them.
Yep. Swap it out for the frag missiles. Sure.
All right. And now we got a ballistic one, which is flak. So, oh man, flak is half the normal damage on all targets except VTOLs, fighters, wings, and conventional infantry. And flak confers a -2 to hit, correct?
Right. But doesn't cluster, don't LBXs already get the flak ability?
They do.
Yeah. So this is a before the LBX, there was flak ammo.
Okay. Yep.
And this is what, yeah, exactly. Like, we didn't know how to make pellets yet.
You can probably load flak into autocannons.
Exactly.
Like, there you go. So you get to turn your...
But it's only
flexible
against flyers and infantry.
Right. So
Denham trying to like, isn't this the same? Yes, if you could use it in that weapon.
Yeah. I mean, I put it in every rifleman I ever had.
Which is what they would use. But no, that is literally for it. This is for the blackjacks, the riflemen, the Jägermechs for, hey, sit at the middle of the base on a hill and, give us air cover.
Yeah.
Or anti-air cover, I should say. All right, next one. Heat seeking. This one's actually interesting.
Why isn't this in the normal rules?
No,
this is cool. This is cool.
The hotter
says Dustin, who refuses to fire both arms on his Ryokan.
I'm never going to get hit by heat-seeking missiles, but I'd like to use them against other people.
Targeted all the time.
So these are +1 hit normally if you're shooting at a target that is, +0 heat. But it gets more benefits, it becomes easier to hit based on how much heat the target has, which is really cool. Like, it incentivizes flamers and infernos and other weird ways. Like, oh, you hit their engine and now they're +1 heat. Oh, go in for the kill with some heat seekers.
This is just sidewinders. This is real life.
Yeah, a lot of these feel like real life weapons, or missile types, yeah.
So cool,
yeah. Got incendiary, which is rather than shoot things that hit fire or that are on fire, now you're trying to shoot things and make them on fire. And this does, of course, more damage to unarmored infantry. You can start fires if you hit regular things, and if you can explode if you get it. If you have rounds that catch on fire when they explode too.
I assume this is for LRMs because we already have.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is autocannons.
Oh, okay.
All right. Next one is Listen Kill, which is a LRM ammunition. And this is -1 to hit against non-ECM clan until correction. And the next one is Listen Kill missiles. And these missiles are essentially, what is it? Non-ECM. Yeah. They are easier to hit against mechs that don't have ECM and are clan. So, no.
Racist?
No. Against non-ECM clan. They don't work against clan. That's what I'm trying to say. They are easier to hit against mechs that don't have ECM and are not clan. So this was just like essentially another software patch missile. Everyone made them. Everyone got really worried and then patched their software to not let missiles. Hey, that EM blob is now actually a better, well-defined EM blob. And then they patched that and it got worse. So
gotcha.
That's like a couple-year missile. Next one, mine clearance. So I thought this one was cool. If you're throwing down mines with one mech, you can then clear said mines with another mech. So they just do 25% of the damage of the launcher size. So LRM-10 would do 2.5 and then rounding, of course.
Just imagine two people digging holes and filling the other person's hole with the dirt they're scooping out of their hole.
I see you shooting mines. I'll raise you, sir, and clear said mines.
I guess that would be good for people not running LRM-20s because LRM-20s can already be used to clear mines.
Yes. But these can do damage. Worse damage. But like I said, none of these are meant to be great. But yeah, so you reduce the minefield by the missile size. So it's just a fun way to do it rather than running, a dasher across them. Clearing it the old-fashioned way.
With your legs.
Clear it like a man. All right, next one's Tandem Charge, which I also think this one should be in the normal one because all this is armor penetration. Did I say it right? No, armor piercing. So this is just armor piercing SRMs.
I don't think so. I think these are way, way too powerful to be in standard.
I mean, that's okay. So that's true. They're too powerful, which is why they need to be in there.
Like if you hit battle armor with them, they kill a trooper on a roll of 10 up.
Yeah, I can't roll 10 ups to save my life, so I'm...
They're incredibly powerful. Too powerful, I think.
Yeah, I mean, you get they cost 5 times the amount in C-bills, which I know is worthless for to most tabletop games, but you only get half the rounds for a ton.
Okay, well that helps for sure.
Would you like less? Would you like less than a half?
I just want to be able to use them myself, and no opponent of mine ever to use them.
They're a little too scary. But yeah, so these are a standard stock 2 -2 to the crit roll. So still a good chance. So what is that? You need 10s, 10 ups?
Yep.
Yeah, if I'm shooting an SRM-6, I'm probably going to get a crit. Maybe.
Yeah, and just hitting battle armor with them, it just clears. Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah. All right, so let's go back to ballistic tracer rounds. So, oh man,
high tech there.
Yeah, right. It's like we made the round glow, Captain. Excellent promotion for you, sir. Yeah, it's really standard weight and range. It's just minus 1 point of damage. So an AC2 does 1 point of damage now. And if you're shooting in night combat, you reduce to hit modifiers. It's tracer, people. Like I'm not gonna
just tracers.
Yeah. All right, and then back to missiles. You know how we had mine clearance stuff? Now we have Thunder LRMs.
See, I thought that these were standard. Maybe they like the Swarm LRMs.
Mm-hmm.
I think Thunder were standard, and then they both got taken out of tournament legal for reasons.
I think you're right because
I used to use these a lot.
It depends on where you look, and of course, the internet doesn't have everything. They are not in my Total Warfare, which
right now I've got all the other older versions. I should just go look through my old
find when it was removed.
Yeah, and find that out. I bet it was in 2004. I'm betting
when you left.
No, well, that's when they moved from the Master Rules to Total Warfare.
Gotcha.
And that's when a lot of those changes were made.
Yeah, so I've got Tech Manual, Tech Readout, and Field Manual Capellan Confederation. So, like I said, I know fast cam and stuff is legal for depending on how you take it. But yeah, like I said, Thunder LRMs, you shoot the minefield of the launcher size.
Yep, spit them all out.
Yeah, very Capellan, I will say that. All right, next one, the Shoot and Sit Pod, which is another NARC one. I've
never heard of this.
We're going to touch on these real fast. Would you like to press the remote detonator on your NARC pod? Because that's really all this is. It's 3 damage and could detonate later. Not guaranteed, could detonate.
Sounds great.
Yeah. So
sign me up.
The whole goal of these was to shoot a whole bunch onto the enemy mech. And then once you got to above 20, press the trigger and hopefully force the PSR.
I don't like these at all.
Yeah, no, I was like, neither did MechWarriors, and that's why they don't exist anymore. All right, next one, the Bola Pods.
Okay, I saw this in the notes, and I'm like, What is Josh talking about? This has got to be made up.
This is the
Nope, it's real.
It's the other narc one. Would you like to be, Luke Skywalker and his snow speeder on Hoth?
And my Goliath, no.
Yeah. Oh. So yeah, Bolopods. It's like I said, you're shooting. Oh god, you're trying to trip mechs. You can hit arms or legs. Those are the only two places it works. It only lasts for that turn, no matter what. And yeah, you force a piloting skill roll with a +1 to avoid falling over. And you can't kick with the lem. And if you hit the arms, they get a +1 to hit for all weapons and physical. So it's fun. It's fun. It's very campaigny. It's very fluffy. It could use for a boss fight. Yeah, it's very campy.
Yeah, I could see using this in a campaign, but never.
Yeah, all of these special mentions are definitely like, please don't use this on a pickup game, and definitely don't tell them you heard it from us. Definitely take this to your campaign where the person's middle name, and you're like, oh, how's the wife and all that, and oh, I'm bringing Bolopods today. Cool, let's see how that works. But anyways, so those are our special mention ammunitions. Do we wish any of these were normal play, everyday use?
I mean, I think Thunder myself.
I want my Thunder back, please.
Yeah, I liked those.
What about you, Dustin? Which one do you wish was back, or was more mainstream?
Heat seeking.
Heat seeking would be cool.
Yeah,
heat seeking would be cool.
Hot mech, home in, sidewinder missile.
Do you think missiles should just get that bonus? So you want heat seeking?
I want heat seeking. That sounds like fun. No, I don't think that's how. I'm already turning into Grognard. I already know how LRM rules work, so don't change it.
Oh man, you don't want just software updates to be sent out to all things in the Ill Clan era?
No.
Missiles now have this ability. Welcome to 3150. Apple sends out its update to all of its munition plants.
Also, here's a dongle you have to pay 50 C-bills for.
Oh. You joke, but that's essentially why some of these ammunitions went bad.
Yeah. No, I just like the whole infrared seeking missile heat thing, Yeah.
No, I think probably the coolest one would probably be the tandem charge, which is just armor piercing for SRMs. I kind of agree with Denham that it's a very strong thing. Maybe these should be BV pointed as well if they were mainstream. Maybe not -2, maybe a -1 to crit rolls. They needed 11 or 12.
Jeez.
Or you just need 12s. A 12 to, yeah, I could do that. I mean, what do you want from me? I mean, come on.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these were made when C-bills was the balancing factor, and that's what they did, just make them too expensive to use in a campaign.
Yeah,
but these days we use BV2. And
so 5 times the C-bill means your ton of ammo should be 5 times the BV.
Yeah.
I could work with that.
I would pay it.
I think most people would. That's the problem. Alrighty, so that's special ammunitions. I think we talked a lot of tactics. I think we talked swapping when we would, when we wouldn't.
Yeah.
Oh man, is there anything we missed that anyone's been holding on to?
No.
Nope, got everything I was thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, there's just so many ammos, and this is the late 3050s to early 3060s when they all are now mainstream.
Oh yeah,
so much information, Josh. Burst. So much information.
All right, so a lot of people were hounding us that they wanted Lance and reviews back. So fine, everyone, you get your Lance and review, and you know what? We're going to cover special ammunitions for this Lance. So I made a Lance. I think you made a Lance, Denham.
Yeah, mine is way more simple than yours is.
Mine's pretty simple. Pretty, maybe. All right, so we're kind of sticking with the theme of 6500 because, we did Bachalin on a budget. Everyone loved that. Everyone's been making Bachalin on a budget list for 6500 BV. And my theme was Civil War, and it's essentially everyone is tired of the Civil War and is now like a mercenary company. So I've got an Anubis, the Capellan, and he's got he's got 4 LRM-5s, and he's only got 1 ton of ammo. So the question is what does he take that 1 ton of LRM as? And I chose semi-guided because I think we all agreed ignoring 4 types of modifiers is insane.
Do you have tag in your list?
He does.
I do.
Yeah. The light tag. Yeah, absolutely. Take the semi-guided.
He's spoiling.
He is.
I'm working up to it.
That's what I do.
We know.
Yeah. My next one would be a Blackjack 4, which I think was kind of discussed that if you wanted to try special ammunitions, this is a mech to do it because it has 4 tons of ammo.
Is that the BJ4?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So it's got 2 AC5s, right?
Yeah. So I took 2 tons of armor piercing ammo because that's like just trading down to 1 ton of regular.
Right.
Yeah. 1 ton of precision for when things get a little squirrely. And then 1 ton of regular just for that little weird middle ground where they don't have a TMN because they've fallen, can't get up, and you just want to plink away at them. But you might be too far for AP to really be like reliable at that point.
And that MechWarrior has options.
That MechWarrior has options, and that's what the BJ4 does for you.
That's right.
All right. Next one for my heavy, I went with the Vulture D because why not? You fought in Bulldog, Bird Dog, all those. Yeah, you're bringing home the good salvage. So, Vulture D, it's got ATM 12s and it's got 6 tons of ammo. So I just went with the stock loadout, which is 2 tons of each. So
spicy.
Like it.
Yeah, and he's just gonna either hang up front and nuke things with a high explosive, or he's going to sit back and just rain extended range missiles. All right. And, he's got other guns, so he's not dedicated missile like the Anubis.
Right.
And for my assault, I went with the Sunderer. And I went with the original, the Inner Sphere Omni, made in the good old Draconis Combine. And that is an AC-20 with 2 tons, and I decided to split that with 1 ton of precision AC-20 and 1 ton of regular.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got your 7 shots.
I've got 7 shots. I debated on caseless for this one.
Ooh.
I debated on caseless, but I figured I don't need 20 rounds of AC-20.
No,
I don't need 20 for one single AC-20.
You're not going to be able to... You're still limited at your range, so...
Yeah, exactly. So... I figured the precision for those 2 turns when my target has a TMM of 2, like just call it. Just get rid of it. Just get rid of it.
It's there to blow the legs off, and then it's regular.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've got 2 turns where I'm still closing. They've got a mod. I've got a mod. I'm going to remove their mod, and then I'm just going to switch to regular. But nice. I definitely didn't want 4 rounds of AC-20 because that's a wasted BV. So 1 ton of regular, 1 ton of special. But it also has 3 SRM-4s and 2 tons of ammo, so I did the classic swap of 1 ton of Inferno and 1 ton of regular.
Nice.
And guess what, guys? I wasn't done with BV yet. I threw in a Grenadier battle armor with light tag.
Nice.
And they essentially ride on top of either the Vulture or the Sunder and drop off, light tag something, and they fire SRMs until they die.
Yeah. So the Anubis has 3 LRM-5s? 4 LRM-5s. Okay, good. Yeah.
Yeah. It is nothing else. It is just 4 LRM-5s.
Yeah. No arm guns.
With
just
semi-guided and a light tag battle armor.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. So it's only got, if you're firing all those, you don't have a lot of turns of ammo. So when you do fire, you want to commit. And what's the best way to commit? Semi-guided. My battle armor swap, if I didn't like the Grenadiers, I would take the Kage with light tag, and I could up their skill to 3-4 rather than demote the Grenadiers to 5-5 because I was over by 4 BV, and it hurt. It hurt to do that.
I know how that feels.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
especially when you gotta hit with that tag to get those.
yeah, the Grenadiers, like I said, they can hold on. The Kages can fly above, so they can drop and then fly, which kind of give them a little bit better. It just depends on like, are you doing like an open field or a more woody, stuff? Because the Grenadiers have to drop their ammo or drop their SRMs, and then they can move better. Yeah, so
Right. Yeah, they can't have SRMs and jump at the same time.
exactly. So that's my Civil War late clan invasion list. Definitely Civil War because the Anubis is kind of late, but I wanted to be pressed and pressured to take a purely dedicated long range missile light.
Well, as long as you keep that tag alive, that's fantastic.
I mean, if I'm firing so the Anubis has the stealth armor, and as long as I'm not stealth armoring, I'm firing missiles.
Mm-hmm.
And I can be indirect, so I don't need stealth. I'm ignoring modifiers, I'm ignoring spotting. It's just free real estate for the entire, until that bin clicks empty, which isn't too long. But, so what do you think of my ammo choices? Because that's the main thing for this one.
Right. I love the semi-guided, as I've said. I think that's my favorite. I'm always a fan of Inferno and SRMs. I'm almost worried about your AC-20 ammo, but I do agree. Like I guess the only other option would be to do 1 ton of precision and 1 ton of caseless.
Caseless.
Can't do that.
Yeah. That's the perfect, and caseless changes the entire gun to only caseless ammo.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's too good. They needed to nerf it.
Yeah.
Because then you'd have, 12 rounds, which is the perfect number.
Yeah. Yep, you're right. So, yeah, I guess you did what I would have done. That Vulture with the ATM, I mean, that's the way to go.
Now, if you don't want to do ATMs, just because the Ebon Jaguar, I want to say B variant, has a tag. That's more of a forward spotting variant. So you could swap that, change the BV around a little bit. Then you've got a clan tag, which gives you more range, more staying power, and then you're Anubis and everything semi-guided all day.
I'd be curious. In fact, I'll probably load this into Megamech later and see how yours goes up against my Lance. I came in at 64.88, and so a little bit under. But I did all Karita. It's just my Karita brawler in your face for reals Lance. I took the Akuma, which is a 90-ton assault mech, and he's got the LB-20X, so he's got that new super large LB cluster ammo. And then the Nodachi is my 70-ton heavy, and he has triple strength Myomer, so he's going to get in there real fast and hit you over the head with the hatchet. I'll come back to him in just a second. And then I've got my Dragon, who also moves 5'8", and he's got the regular AC-5, so I put precision ammo in there. So he'll be out there to take out all the fast guys trying to outflank my forces as they move in, because they're all short-range people. And then finally, I've got my Firestarter Omni-Mech, and he also has a sword, because Karita go swords. And he not only has flamers, but he's also carrying Kage light battle armor with flamers. So he goes in there, drops off the battle armor, and they just set fire to everything they can possibly get their hands on. And then the Firestarter, of course, hatchets and swords, everything he can. I think the key to this is the fact that, first of all, everybody has MRMs. Everybody. The
Nice.
Nodachi's got 2 MRM 20s. The Akuma's got an MRM 40. The Dragon has an MRM 10. And the Firestarter has an MRM 20. So they're just firing missiles off everywhere.
So many missiles.
So many missiles.
But are they hitting with those missiles?
It doesn't. On 3 of the mechs, it matters. On 1 of them, it does not.
The Dragon
the
with
Nodachi.
MRM-10 doesn't matter.
The Nodachi is the one who's going to be getting in there to hit with the TSM. So he's going to be firing the MRMs with everything else just to get his heat up to 9. So whether they hit or not, it doesn't matter. It's all showy and it's scary, and maybe they hit, and that'd be awesome. But if they don't, that's still going to bump up the heat, and he's going to be doing, 28 points of damage with his hatchet. I guess it's a sword, so it's different. How much is that going to be? It's going to be 16 points of damage, which is enough to take your head off. Good enough.
All right. Dustin, which lance do you think would do better?
I don't know.
You're the impartial judge. You didn't make a list.
That's true.
You've got Denham's Karita, Brawly Karita, or mixed long range to brawl range? All range.
I would say, as always, it depends on the field of battle, and if you're on a bowling ball,
standard grasslands map number 1.
Standard grasslands map. I would, if I was playing your lance against Denham's lance, I would be worried that his brawlers would be able to get in there. However, I would be assured that my Vulture D would be able to dish out the pain. And if I was playing Denham's lance against your lance, I would I'd just be leery of the Sunder, and it's 2 rounds of precision ammo, but I'd be counting your ammunition.
Like I said, it's got 3 SRM4s,
yeah,
and the rest of it's got the large laser, and yeah.
I would
think the Sunder's primary weapon is the AC-20. It's not. That's the flare, to stay away.
Yeah.
How fast is the Vulture? That's a 5.8, right?
The Sunder?
No, the Vulture.
No, the Vulture.
Oh, the Vulture. Yeah, it's a 5.8.
Yeah. So the only thing that it can outspeed is my Akuma.
Yeah.
And that's got jump
jets.
And
that's an assault mech. Yeah.
Assault mech with jump jets.
Yeah. I would, like I was saying, if I was playing Denham, your lance against Josh's lance, I would just be wondering how am I going to handle the Vulture, which is, it's a Vulture, so it doesn't have a ton of armor, a bit of a glass cannon, but boy, is it a cannon. 2 ATM-12s is that's a whole can of pain. That's what I'd be focused on. The Anubis I wouldn't be super worried about it. The Blackjack it doesn't have AC2s, so don't worry about that one. That BJ4. I would just be worrying about the Vulture. So that's my impartial.
You didn't say anything like.
Well, I said this is what I'd be looking out for if I would be playing. Oh, did I give a judgment call? Yeah. I'm going to go with Denham's lance because it's got MRMs and it's more in your face punchy stuff. And I think I feel like, the Vulture's a trick because it's got it's got ATMs.
I don't even consider the Vulture as the main damage dealer of this.
Oh, I do.
I do.
I'm the most afraid of that Vulture.
I'm definitely the most afraid of the Vulture D.
It's got, like I said, it's got 2 ATM-12s. It's got.
Do you know how much damage that is?
I know how much damage that is.
How fast is the Sunder?
It's a 4.6.
Yeah, I want to say 4.6.
4.6. Okay, so all except for the Akuma, all of my guys outspeed and outrange your Sunder. Like I've got ERPPCs and stuff.
The Sunder,
I would
large lasers.
I would give you
edge. The Sunder. The Sunder's just the distraction. It's the distraction. That's why it runs up. It takes the fire. And then it shoots 3 SRM4s and with its 7 rounds of AC-20. If it expected to be alive for long, do you think you'd only load 7 rounds of AC-20?
Yeah, if I were to place bets, I'd place, in a vacuum with 2 equally skilled players, I would bet on Denham's list.
You don't even bet on the Blackjack. You didn't even mention
it's not a BJ1. I said it. It ain't got AC2s. It's garbage.
It's got AC5s with 2 tons of armor penetration.
I think it's got 5 times the BV of a BJ1.
It doesn't have that crazy short range bracket and that insane medium range bracket.
Yeah, I would put my Akuma against your Sunder, and everything else would go after the Vulture.
Yeah. So yeah, all that being said, I would like to see it on the table or in the Mega Mech, baby. You can only armchair general so much, but I would give the edge. I would bet on Denham's list. Yeah.
BJ's Force got a targeting computer, though.
Okay, but it doesn't have AC2s.
Then
Josh is like, you're wrong.
Then you don't need armor penetration ammo.
I was very happy with Dustin's decision that my lance would be better until he kept talking, and now I don't really trust anything that he says.
Now you're like, you know what? Josh is the weird, crazy enough pilot that he could probably make this work. And Anubis can fire for 6 rounds. Why is that scary now? I don't know.
I don't know.
I just have to stay out of range. Like, what's the range of light tag? Is it like 6?
It's not very far.
I just have to stay 6 away from your battle armor.
Yeah, I mean, if I was playing Denham's list against Josh's list, I'd be like, Anubis, nah, I'm not going to worry about it.
369. And yeah, it gets dropped off by either the Vulture or like the Anubis is the, hey, you've come close and now I'm putting rounds at you. I'm ignoring all of your modifiers, any intervening terrain. You're never shooting at the Anubis.
Grenadier battle armor, isn't that, it's like a 1-3 or something like that?
It's a 1-1 until it,
drops its
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, nothing, like maybe you could tie down the Akuma, but it's got jump jets, so it'd still be a little tricky. But everything else is going to just like, I would just be like, no, I'm not going to stand next to the battle armor with the tag.
Now, I'd say the biggest weakness of my lance is that 3 out of 4 of them have an XL engine.
Oh, yeah.
So that does hurt a lot. But it's the Akuma that does not have an XL engine.
BV is BV. And Interspill XLs are tricky.
That dragon with the precision ammo and the Gauss rifle, he's just going to hang back and snipe things.
But yeah.
I disagree, but I'll accept it for tonight.
You asked me for my opinion. You have to.
It's like asking the wrong person for the wrong opinion. You know what you're expecting.
Yeah, you got what you paid for, baby.
Yeah. But no, I think both of these lists kind of show off like you can completely change a lance just based on the ammunition it's taking.
These are super fun lists.
I got to be honest. I wanted to put a lance that had my favorite Civil War mech, the Nodachi, in there. So I basically built it around that mech.
Okay.
Nice.
I always start small and fill my way up. So yeah, I started with the Anubis, and I was like, okay, I have
What's
4.
my favorite childhood mech?
Yeah, no, I mean, it was like, okay, what is because the lights of the Civil War are just, I want to say, very iconic. You can take the Hollander.
Yeah.
All costs.
I almost had
that.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's the same thing. It's got X turns of rounds, and then it's done.
I think my original lance had the BJ4, which totally encapsulates this whole everything we were talking about.
Right.
It had the Hollander, it had the Bushwhacker, and I just couldn't think of a good 4th mech because the Nodachi does not fit in that lance at all.
Enforcer or the new Enforcer with the, for the ammunitions or whatever. I don't know what your BV was looking like, but it sounds like you could probably fit an Enforcer in there. If you're running that, sounds pretty Davian with the mechs you were running so far. So that's where my mind goes. But
yeah, I wanted to go with a lance that I could actually field with metal minis that I've got over here on the
You
table.
don't have an Enforcer? What?
I do, but I didn't have. What did I not have out of that? No, I've got a Hollander. I've got a Bushwhacker. I guess it was just that 4th mech, which would have been the Enforcer. I don't know. Yeah, I guess I did.
Well, my goal was to make a list that there would be like someone from every faction, every main faction.
Yeah, I like the fluff for your list.
It's like everyone's tired of the Civil War, and they're like, we have our mechs, and we just want to like get out of here.
I did not intend for all 4 of mine to have MRMs, but it turned out that they did.
Yeah.
Maybe you like the MRMs.
I do. I do like MRMs for the psychological warfare.
Yeah. But yes, semi-guided LRMs all day, every day now. And if I have more than, if I have, like I said, AC 10s, AC 5s, oh yeah, we're taking armor piercing ammo.
Semi-guided is so scary.
I mean, on a dedicated sit back, I think it's the most buffs on any special ammunition.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if you hit with your semi-guided, which you probably will, you're looking at like an average of 12 damage.
Yeah, the Anubis can force a PSR, which is better than a lot of light mechs.
That's true.
It's not going to.
It's possible.
It's not possible, not probable. Yeah.
No, but some like there's an archer out there with 4 LRM-15s, and to have semi-guided 4 LRM-15s firing at the same time.
Ooh.
Because those average 9.
Yeah.
So 9 times 4 is 118. Because math. And there's a 50% chance of it hitting because it either hits or it doesn't.
Yeah,
that's how math works, right?
Yes or no? Get out of here. Get out of here.
All right. So I think that wraps up, our Praise Blake and Pass the Ammunition episode of the Mechbay podcast. We did our Lance reviews, covered way too many munitions, ones that are legal, ones that aren't legal, and ones that don't even exist anymore. But we just felt like if you're running a campaign, it's on the table. Might as well taste it. So, Dustin, you want to send us home?
Yeah. Thanks for listening. Check us out on Facebook at the Mechbay Podcast. Join us on the Discord for a daily discussion on all things Battletech, and send us your questions at the mechbaypodcast@gmail.com. Thanks, MechWarriors, for the support. Because of you, we have nickel balls for our Gauss rifles.